Hey, how's it going, ladies and germs? Welcome to just an informal chat. Me and my good buddy Mark here from Generation Y. Go check out his channel. The link is not in the description as of yet. It will be later. So if you're watching this after the fact, the link will be there. But if not, just look up Generation Y podcast and you'll see his beautiful British face. How's it going, Mark?
Yeah, good. Very good. Fresh from a regular terror attack yesterday.
Yeah, that's what Mark was catching me up. Like, see, this is the great thing about American media. We're only allowed to know about one thing at a time. And right now, that's Kyle Rittenhouse. We're not allowed to know about anything else right now. So say
And the fact he's a mass shooter.
Yes. Yeah, this child soldier. We're only allowed to deal with one of these kinds of things at a time. So why don't you tell everybody? So what happened exactly?
Yeah, so basically we had we don't even know what country he's from because our media is very similar to yours. I would say maybe 10% more honest, but, I'm being generous there. So all we know is that he is a Middle Eastern refugee, and he basically pulled up to what I can't remember the exact name of it, something women's hospital, and it's essentially just a hospital to go and give birth rather than like a regular hospital. This guy got a taxi and he was going to go in and detonate a bomb strapped to his body. The taxi driver cottoned on and thinks that he kind of realized that he cottoned on.
Mm-hmm.
So the taxi driver just pulls up. The initial blast goes off. The taxi driver dives out the door and shuts the door. And apparently he'd already locked the passenger door before he left. And that's probably why the guy blew it up, because as he pulled up to the hospital and stops, he presses the lock button whilst holding his door handle open so that he could get out.
Yeah.
And then the whole car just goes kabloomsk and flames. So, and then all we've heard since then was that he is somewhere in the Middle East. And the biggest thing they keep talking about is just that he is formerly a Christian.
Yeah.
He is the terrorist formerly known as
Well,
Christian.
yeah. I mean, the religion of peace would never be involved in anything like this at all.
No.
Nothing shady or subversive or angry or violent. No.
No. So, look, I think we could all put our adult hat on and say, yep, 99.9% of Muslims do not do things like this.
Not at all. No.
But there obviously is some sort of problem with a certain faction, because we're not having Jewish people blowing up our buildings or stabbing our citizens. Nor are we having Hindus.
Not
who
yet.
I believe are the most successful group in the UK.
Are they really? That makes sense.
They are, yeah.
I
So
could believe that, yeah.
Yeah, so the most successful are Jewish and Hindu. And then the least successful are and African black, so Nigerian.
Mm-hmm.
So African black British. And then the least successful are Caribbean black British and working class white British.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do they have any reason why that would be? I mean, in terms of, I guess not really. I guess just cultural stuff about who.
It's mainly culture, I think.
Well, it's just like in the United States. It's like not to be like overly simplistic, but like Asian people kill it in America.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, they're very, just regardless, they're just very, very keyed in, and they just do the work. They work their asses off,
Surprise, surprise at work. If you work your bollocks off, you do well. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Actually, if anybody wants to check it out, Mark and I had a conversation on his channel yesterday, and we talked about this a little bit, like just the generational differences and kind of where people are at generationally and the types of, I guess, like the sense of apathy some people have, and I suppose it's mostly specifically Western culture. We have it so good, we don't even know how to try anymore sometimes. We feel entitled a little bit. And then other people from other countries don't feel that way. So when they come to a place where you are in some sort of promised land, to a certain degree, right? They go for it. They really go for it.
You just got to pick the fruit. That's all you got to do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because nobody wants to do that, right? That's always been the Democratic talking line or talking points. I remember it was like they would literally go on TV and be like, well, who's going to clean my fucking toilet? if we don't let
Oh, yeah,
illegal
that was,
immigrants in. It was Kelly.
Ozzy Osbourne's daughter.
Yeah, Kelly Osbourne. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's gonna clean the toilets, mate?
I remember that. Yeah, that was hilarious. And then she was like, I didn't mean it like that.
Yes,
I didn't mean it like that.
You definitely meant it like you meant.
Yeah.
Oh, they love their little surf classes. Oh, they love those people in there cleaning their toilets and mowing their lawns and paying them $10 an hour, if that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's pretty generous.
Well, we're nothing if not magnanimous. Give these people $10 an hour so they can go and live in their house with 40 people in it. I used to work with a bunch of people from El Salvador, and again, very hardworking people, but they were but they were part of their own little community, their own little enclave. Some of these people had been in the United States for 25 years and could barely speak English.
Yeah, we have that.
That's how isolated they keep themselves. They just go to work and then they go home. That's all they do.
Like one of the issues that we have here, I know a few people that work at the local hospital. And I know that there is an issue with some of the, it's more older people, so I would say people 60 and above. Often the parents, so maybe they were the first over here, and then their offspring were the first born here. And there is definitely an issue sometimes with being able to get translators. If it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and someone's come in with an abdominal pain, and you can't get someone to translate immediately, you can end up with some serious issues. So yeah, it's amazing how long they can be here and not know enough.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that's a good point about it tends to be the older generation, because the younger people want to be involved with culture. They like to go out, they like to party, whatever you want to call it. They like to enjoy themselves just like anybody would. So they are a little bit more keyed in, and they want to be keyed in. But some people just do not give a fuck. It's like everybody I worked with had 3 jobs. They all lived with 20 people at their house. Their entire family, everybody that ever came to the United States, both legally and illegally, everybody lived in the same house.
Yep.
They would work where I worked in I used to work in a laboratory. I used to work in a biotech facility, and I used to just clean animal cages. Nothing fancy, nothing high tech. I was just the dude scraping mouse shit.
Guinea pig droppings.
Yeah, based. Yes, actually, literally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just would be. Yeah. Anyways, the whole system. But I used to work with a lot of those people, and they'd work for 12 hours at the place, and then they would be like, all right, I gotta go hit the food truck.
Yeah.
And then they'd be in a food truck till 12 at night, and then they'd go home, and then they'd get up at 6, and they'd go to work. And they do that 7 days a week.
Yeah, it's very, very similar here. In fact, one of the issues we had during the beginning of the pandemic was that they were trying to figure out. Well, I remember that they actually brought out a documentary, and I think Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad from the Lotus Eaters. That's really cool, actually. You guys should check that out. The Lotus Eaters podcast. And they were picking apart this documentary by quite a wealthy black celebrity, and they were basically saying that the pandemic is racist because white people are not suffering as much. And that is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you have to be some sort of spactard to think that a virus will just
selectively.
Because obviously it can selectively affect different races of people because different races are slightly different genetically.
Yeah.
But for the virus itself is clearly not going to be a bigot. Although maybe they would think that the virus is going to be a bigot. And then they figured out that 2 of the main reasons. So the first one was that there was much more skepticism by the immigrant community towards the government. Good for you. And secondarily, that in the sort of non-WASPy community, it's just English people and British people, I guess, they were much more likely to be living in a 3-generational house. So the kids, the parents, and the grandparents. Yeah. They would be eating from the same table and sometimes sharing from the same bowl. And listen, it's not like it's a terrible thing to do, but that was the reason. Surprise, surprise. The virus was not a bigot.
Yeah, it's just practices. It's just how they live their lives. And I assume, I don't know, but I guarantee you they didn't talk about the economic effects that those people suffered from having your country shut down for fucking months.
Of course they
No,
didn't.
no, of course they don't talk about that at all. No, because why would that matter, right?
Mm.
The same thing in America. Just this obnoxious fucking this privileged class of people that are completely out of touch with reality and what the lives of everyday people, and they want to do shit like that. That's when you know we have it too good. When you can just complain and make inferences that, oh well, this is also racist just because. I don't even know how do you even quantify that? Like, how do you even quantify it at this point? Like, maybe in 5 years somebody could come and say that. They could say like, oh, look at the statistics. But while it's happening, you're like, come on, dude, come on.
It's like old George W. Bush said. One of his quotes that actually was pretty spot on was the bigotry of low expectations, the soft bigotry of low expectations. Yes. They sort of treat them like they're a wounded puppy and that they can't take care of themselves. They can't speak up for themselves.
Yeah, they have no agency whatsoever. They're basically, I'm on my channel. They're basically retarded. That's what that's what they say. That's what they imply. Yeah. Actually, this is a good segue because we're going to talk about the Rittenhouse trial. But there was some guy on Twitter that's just like, if Kyle Rittenhouse gets acquitted tomorrow, I think all businesses should give black people 2 days off of work so they can emotionally cope with the trial. And you're like, oh, because it doesn't matter, dude. They made this about race somehow. It's just somehow this is he's a racist, white supremacist. We all saw that stuff, but they're just even now at the end of the trial, they're still saying it. There's no evidence of anything. They've never produced a fucking single stick of evidence. The closest thing they have is to say that Kyle was at a bar with a Proud Boy.
And can I just say something about that, because I've heard that a few times now. Obviously, in terms of the violence and stuff, this was a white German American who took out 2.5 other white German Americans. He was obviously kicked by an African American. That was a drop kick man or jump kick man. But in terms of deaths or serious injuries, it was only white German Americans. And with regards to, as you rightly say, the only thing that they have to say that because let's be honest, we all know that these sort of middle management type people want to call all white people white supremacists. Mm-hmm. That's what they really want. And the only way they could do that with Kyle is because, as you rightly say, there was the day when he came out, when he was bailed out, and he wore a T-shirt that said "Free as F." They went to a sports bar and watched football. Whoa! And when he was there, he met up with some Proud Boys, where he then made the circle game sign.
Yeah.
But what we have now found out from attorney Robert Barnes is that the person that set all that up was somebody that was on the defense team, but who is a Democratic donor and is linked to, I believe, the governor or somebody.
Yeah,
from the Democrats.
He's basically the money man.
John Pierce.
Yeah, he's like the money man behind the entire defense, and he has a lot of control of the Rittenhouses apparently in terms of because he's got them over a barrel. He's the only way they have any money is from this guy. So hopefully after the trial, maybe they can. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's who am I to judge? Maybe he's good to them, and maybe that's the good thing. But yes, like you said, it's Robert Barnes kind of framed it as a setup. I don't know if that's quite fair. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know if it was a setup.
Yeah, it could just be a really stupid decision.
I think it might be. I mean, because if I was a 17-year-old kid, I'd just get out of jail. Somebody gives me a meme T-shirt. I'm like, cool, dude. Yeah, you want to? Oh, I get to go to a bar? Fuck yeah, dude. And then you have the entire country and the president calling this kid a white supremacist and stuff, and you wonder why he would be nice to people that are nice to him.
Yeah,
the Proud Boys people. There's a lot of consternation about the Proud Boys and what their affiliations are and what they aren't. I have no idea. I mean, I think that shit got out of control. I think it's gone too far with the Proud Boys. But at the same time, what's the difference between them and Antifa or whatever? Because they're a response to that stuff. They're a response to extremist, leftist activists.
Dude, It's a
But
drinking men's club for young men,
yes,
like and
yeah,
middle-aged men. We know that many of the members come from all different races. Like 80% of the Floridian Proud Boys are Cuban Americans.
yeah.
Like it pisses me off that like, I don't really give a shit. Like I'm not or never have been anything to do with them, nor do I really care. But to say that they're like a white supremacist group is beyond ignorant.
Yeah, it smacks at reality. Like, and that's what's
Mm,
so infuriating about it. You're just like, this is just doesn't match reality.
mm,
And why does everything that people are adversarial against on one side of the aisle, they just have to call everybody a fucking racist? Like, it just
mm.
doesn't matter even what the subject is. Case in point, Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yep.
What the fuck happened to make you think that kid is a racist? He was actually
Yeah.
protecting an Indian man's business.
Yep.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Maybe those people that were there protecting those buildings, maybe the least racist people there
Yeah.
at the entire night. You have a bunch
Apparently.
of they're mad at people because they're not allowing them to smash and burn buildings. Like that
Yep.
is what the prosecution was up against. The reality is they were stopping people from destroying things, and they have to make it look like those guys were the aggressors. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. But anyways,
Yeah, whereas in reality, the initial victim whose friend fired the first bullet of the night, he was the one that was using the N-words. And listen, I'm not going to be intellectually dishonest like some people have been who claim that he used a hard R. I think the whole thing's pathetic. So I think a word is a word.
yeah,
And I don't think anybody should be afraid of using words in the correct context. But he didn't use a hard R.
No, he
He
didn't.
was using it like any other wigger with a W would use it.
yes,
And but the point is, in this day and age, no white people on their side can do that. So for them to pretend that he was like super on their side and blah blah blah, the reality is he was somebody with mental health issues. And you can tell that by the fact that he's
Yeah.
standing in a crowd of African Americans screaming the N-word. I don't care whether
Well,
it's a
because-
soft or a hard R.
Well, because this is the thing that I think that media and stuff distorts. Like the street level reality of people's lives are not some academic intellectual thing. Like you tell me, like a bunch of like you said, a wigger, which we got to bring that word back. It was very popular when I was a teenager. I think
100%.
we need to bring it back. Um, but like that's pretty normal. Like for like people of a certain, I don't know, how do I say, like economic status, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
to be high-minded. Poor people on the street, white, black, whatever, they talk like that. That's just the reality. Nobody gives a shit most of the time. They don't.
No.
Not in real life. Unless, I mean, I guarantee you drop a hard R, people are probably going to be mad at you.
Yeah.
But not
Yeah.
like the colloquial slang that, up until 5 years ago, or maybe a little longer than that, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It was pretty common that people used it, It was actually more of just a joke when white people used it. It was like a joke. It was something to kind of like be like, okay, dude, chill out.
Yeah. It's a sort of, and it's a sort of gamer thing where it's like, look how edgy I am. I'm going to use the word, but not quite the word, and I'm not actually using it to be offensive
Yeah.
or bigoted. I'm just using it to be edgy. It's just this is how ridiculous it is when you start censoring any words. When you start giving like one race, full control and ownership and love and passion over a word.
Well, it's just the one. You have to, if you're gonna like stand on principle and say that it's a bad word, then it has to be ubiquitous. It has to be.
Yeah.
Everybody has to stop then,
Because otherwise, if you're mixed race,
because it's
can you use it?
but it's
If
not.
if you're quarter.
Well, that people literally argue about shit like that.
Yeah,
Like,
but
I
that's,
don't know. I don't know if you're black enough to really use this, Stan.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
But Eminem can because he's successful.
Well, yeah, his sick rhymes, his flow.
Yeah.
His flow requires it.
Gives him the key. And I know that he doesn't use it in his music, but
But
You know, I've heard
behind
it.
the scenes, he's calling people the N word left and right. You know
Yeah.
it. No, I'm just joking.
yeah,
I have no idea.
100%.
He's down to MTV Music Awards. Look at these N's, he says. I'm like, whoa. Yo, Slim Shady, what are you doing, buddy? He's like, what? just saying it like it is, man. Like, you're
Got a
really,
problem, man?
you're a truth teller, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's obnoxious, and I agree with you. I think the idea, like people trying to suggest that he said the hard R, is stupid. Like, because it's a non-issue. It's like a non-point. You could just say, like, look, he's an aggressive asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I understand why they're doing it. I get it. I get why, like, the defense would be like, yeah, he says the N-word at the BLE. Because the prosecution has decided to take the tact, like, these were peaceful, innocent protesters out at 11:50 at night in Kenosha. Like,
and that Kyle was a racist. They're trying to say Kyle was a racist as well.
Yeah.
So with those two combined, that's why they need that. That's why they want that.
I know. It's so transparent, and I hope to God the jury does not buy that bullshit. Because if you go to our conversation yesterday, I am on the precipice of being blackpilled if Kyle Rittenhouse does not get acquitted. I'm gonna lose my I'm gonna lose my mind. I will be upset. It actually even caused a fight with my wife.
Really?
Yeah, because she, rightly so. She's like, all right, Sean, like, you got to stop, like, force feeding this constantly. Because I've been sick. So all my downtime has just been watching the trial. So I'm like spiraling,
Yeah.
like having a manic episode. And I'm just like, I'm like, you should care. I'm like, that could be your son I even said that could be your son someday. Like a complete asshole, which is not wrong, but it's a dick thing to say in the context of her just telling me to chill out. We don't need to fucking talk about this 24/7. And I, like, once I got a hold of my faculties, I apologized. I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Right. I don't need to tell you that it could be your son someday. Like, that's not fair.
Yeah. Oh, that's good of you, man. That's good of you. Yeah, I mean, I think we all suffer from that. Like, anybody that follows kind of current affairs, but their other half doesn't because they've got a life. I've often been told to kind of just chill and, not constantly rabbit on about it. And, that's fair enough. People do have real lives to live. I just wanted to say that the thing that people are missing, and this is a huge meme opportunity and just a piece of comedy gold, was just listening to that segment just forget. I know that Kyle's future is at stake and whatnot. But just listen to the whole part around that bit on its own, and it is hilarious because when Joseph Rosenbaum is going, "Shoot me, N-word, shoot me," there's an actual black guy standing next to him in the crowd, and he's like, "Dude, what are you doing? Shut the fuck up! You're gonna get us all killed." It's just such a kind of late '90s comedy.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. He's just like Chris Tucker hanging out with him. That would be like a buddy. Yeah. It would be like Chris Tucker and Joseph Rosenbaum. Joseph Rosenbaum just got let out of the mental institution. Yeah, it's like literally the plot of a movie that either that or it'd be like Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, but it would be Chris Tucker and Joseph Rosenbaum. That would be like the modern equivalent.
Definitely. So yesterday, obviously, we had the final arguments. Mm-hmm. So how do you think it went? Obviously, we had the prosecution, then the defense, and then the prosecution's comeback.
It is it put me at ease a little bit because of how bad the beginning of the prosecution was good because that guy, while being dishonest, is very slick and he knows how to tell a story. He knows how to like engage you. He's engaging in a way that the defense never has been. Although the other guy, the bald guy, the Lex Luthor looking dude,
Sheriff Easy.
Hey, what's up, Big Paul? Boogaloo. Sheriff Easy is slick. He is well spoken. He can articulate. He's engaging.
He's a brawler.
Yeah, and where Richards is more like a blunt instrument.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to come down with my Wisconsin hammer. I'm going to create havoc. It's like, I was like, that's a band name. Somebody's going to start a band and be called Havoc. Richards Havoc.
He has no flow.
He has no flow, but he found a way to suit his style and structure his closing arguments. I thought maybe the best he possibly could.
Yeah.
And he was able to basically dismantle the vast majority of the prosecution's perspective and what they were trying to argue. Yeah, for sure. He dismantled it, like destroyed it. And also got some nice barbs in at Binger. I mean, because basically what he did was just like, Binger's a piece of shit and he's fucking lying to you. And this is why he's lying to you. And then he just said it over and over and over again,
Yeah.
up to the point where when they went up for their rebuttal, I think it's Krause is the Chris Farley
Jim
looking dude.
Krause. Yeah.
Sauerkraut or whatever the people have been calling him. He was angry. Like, you could tell he was upset that they had impugned, and then they doubled down on being sarcastic assholes. Like,
my god, dude! How sarcastic was? My god, man!
I mean, dude. Well,
I've never heard that.
Even Binger during his closing was just like, "Oh my god, you can't take a punch." Like, you're like, "What the fuck are you? This is a murder trial, dude.
Yeah,
this kid's life is on the line. Like, this kid could go to jail forever." And you're like,
I showed my missus, and she was like, "What is that? How they do it?" I was like, "I don't think so.
Not normally. No, it's not like It's not like in the UK where you guys have your parliament and everybody's fucking yelling at each other, like, which is awesome. I used to watch those all the time. I had no idea what was going on. It was just entertaining.
I don't think anyone does. I don't think they do.
It's just like Jeremy Corbyn just sitting there with his arms crossed, and people are like, shame, shame, shame. It was just like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, like it was shocking. And then on the rebuttal, because you could tell how angry they were that somebody like impugned their dignity or something, their integrity. The guy had like a checklist. He was being an asshole. He was not making the points he thought he was making. What?
Did you notice though? He was like really obviously checking them off, even when he wasn't checking them off. Like, it was like he thought he'd made a point. So he was kind of looking at the jury, and then he'd like tick, and it's like, dude,
he literally had a piece of paper that he was going, looked like he was checking boxes.
Yeah.
He's like, done with this one, and he was aggressive when he would check the box too. He's like, done.
Yeah.
Done.
And when he said, what was it? He said something along the lines of, the law doesn't say blah 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 blah. I can't remember what he said, and then he goes, it's whether or not he was actually hurt. Now look, we've all been in a scuffle. We've all had some bumps and bruises.
Sometimes you got to catch a beating. He said that. Their argument ended up being, so they basically let go of the entire provocation thing because they knew there's just nothing there. They know that.
So glad
they knew that. Honestly, they should be disbarred for bringing this to trial, period. What the fuck? They did not have evidence to prove their case at all. They had nothing.
Because in this country, and I'm pretty sure that you guys follow English common law as well, but obviously you've streamlined it and also expanded it in some regards. The prosecution's job is solely to get justice, so you shouldn't be going in there for a victory. Like, if you think, I mean, let's be honest, like if you think that someone hasn't done it or is completely innocent, you don't bring charges to begin with. So I guess once you do, you've kind of pushed yourself into the corner. But you should not be like lying and just playing these ridiculous games over putting a kid away for decades of his life.
Yeah.
Because that's the one difference between our countries. Obviously over here, unless you've done something really bad, you're going to go away for maybe 15, 20 years. But obviously he could be facing the rest of his life in jail.
Yeah.
So you can't be playing those games, man. Like,
not only to play the games, but to be glib and flippant about it, which is more. It's just so off-putting. I mean, even if I was, say, like inclined to think Kyle was guilty, if I was a ridiculous person, which I'm not, I would find that incredibly off-putting because it shakes the foundation of what this is supposed to be.
Yeah,
like you said, basically they take an oath. They're upholding justice. They're not trying to get convictions just to get convictions or to, become celebrities or whatever. But that's the fucking culture we live in. Like, this has nothing to do with reality. And it's mildly terrifying. And that's why it's so important that he gets acquitted. Like, this is a cultural shot across the bow. Like, we got to stop this shit. The last time I remember, and I was upset. Remember the Covington kid, the Covington Catholic school kid? That was another time.
Yeah.
And like Twitter is absolutely a cesspool. It's always a cesspool. But when things like that happen, whether it's Kyle Rittenhouse or the kid from Covington, you really see how fucking disgusting people are. I mean, they wanted that kid's fucking head.
Yeah.
They thought a kid smiled at an Indian dude, or Native American, excuse me, Native American guy, and they wanted his fucking head. They wanted his, even relative to what they thought he did, which he didn't do, but even if he had done that,
Yeah.
they wanted his fucking head. You had
Yeah.
celebrities trying to contact colleges that he might want to go to. Like crazy shit like that.
Wow,
And these
I didn't
people
even know that.
will suffer no consequences as a result of that. It will not change their life at all. And it is fucking crazy that they can do that. Like, I don't understand this idea. Like, I know that the Covington kid was able to he tried to sue a bunch of newspapers and stuff. He got a settlement from CNN. I think that's.
Oh, because Robert Barnes was Nick Sandman's lawyer, wasn't he?
I think he was involved in some degree. Yeah, Robert Barnes.
Oh.
I've known about him for a long time, but he's only really become a public figure in the past few years, basically since. Well, I guess it's only been like 2 years. He's really been a public person, like in the capacity that he is now, like as a personality almost.
Yeah.
I didn't realize like how he's been involved in everything. Like I think he made a name for himself with the Wesley Snipes tax fraud stuff.
Yeah.
Because he was Wesley Snipes' like defense attorney basically, which is awesome because I love Wesley Snipes. I think Wesley Snipes is crazy, but I love him.
Me too.
One of my favorite action guys.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's infuriating. It makes me so upset, and now especially because that Covington thing happened. When did that? Was that 2017 when that happened?
Yeah, 17, 18.
Yeah, because I think Foster, my kid, was like young, and that's all I saw. I just saw my kid, and I was just like, "Fuck."
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
what the fuck? Like, what the fuck am I bringing a kid into? Like, that's how I felt at the time. I just like in the Kyle Ritten, and at the same time, my wife also had to tell me to chill out too about that. So
yeah,
I had like this weird repeat thing happening. I just hate anytime people go after like teenagers and kids. I don't even like
it's
it. Like
the stupidest age of your life.
there's a very popular Twitter
Dude,
person.
sorry to interrupt you.
Whoa,
Just
what?
This is gonna blow your mind.
What?
It was 2019.
That was 2019. Jesus Christ, feels like it was 10 years ago.
I know.
Oh,
I was thinking maybe it was 2016.
Yeah. Oh, crazy. Oh, it's called Libs of TikTok. Have you ever heard?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. I think some of that stuff's very funny, and I think a lot of the stuff they post with teachers and stuff, yeah, you should post that shit. You should blast it out to the world. I don't like when they go after kids. I don't like when there's teenagers being fucking weirdos. Like, they're teenagers. 2-3 years from now, they're going to be different people.
Yep.
Like, just, who cares? Who cares? I don't care about kids. I don't care.
But it does make good humor.
It is funny. I'm not going to say it's not. But also at the same time, and this is maybe my I'm a little cucked in this way. I don't want to be fucking with like mentally ill teenagers and where they brings public attention to them negatively in that way, because I don't want them to do something stupid. Like, that's the way I kind of look at it.
Well, it's very mature.
Thank you. As I'm wearing my fucking Halloween pajamas.
But yeah, I mean, I did find it. Oh, by the way, just really quickly, I always find it amusing when something suddenly clicks in your brain that you haven't actually thought about logically before, or you haven't thought about properly before. So Wesley Snipes, that was like 25 years ago that he was our hero.
Yeah.
Like, for me, he was like a top 3 action hero. But if you spoke to the woke people like 2 years ago, they'd be like, we don't have enough black action stars or something. And it's like, maybe.
Disrespectful.
Maybe not.
Well, when they were talking about Black Panther, you're like, well, what about Blade? What about all of these other people?
And they also have to remember that, like, and listen, whether their argument is correct or not, I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, the African American community in America has basically been stagnant for about 60 years.
Yeah.
Like, they have not done so. Hispanic community has obviously soared. The white community has not declined in number, but declined in percentage because obviously of the amount of Hispanic people coming into the country and whatnot. And so, but the black community has pretty much stagnated at. Well, I think the biggest they ever were was 13%, and now they're back down to 12%.
12%, yeah.
That's 1 in 10.
So it's usually proportionate. You find
Yeah.
proportionate things. So like when you look at like how many black celebrities there are, well, it's kind of proportionate to their population. How many black people are in certain disciplines or workforces is usually proportionate.
Hmm.
And I think people like they it's almost like everybody thinks like we're 33.33% white people, 33.3. No, it's like no, that's not true. Yeah. That's not the case at all.
No.
And like no, and it's like again, like this is this obfuscation of reality to try to make a problem where maybe there isn't one. And listen, I have no problem. Like personally, like if there's more black actors or action stars, like I don't care about that. I don't think anybody
look at
does.
boxing.
Nobody.
Look at the
exactly.
NBA.
Yeah, look at the NBA. Where's my equality? Where's my representation?
Yeah.
Where's my Larry Birds at?
Why don't we have loads of why don't we have loads of Indian people in the NBA?
That's true. Indian
Not
people,
fair.
Latinx people,
Mm-hmm.
folks, FOLX.
I don't even. What is Latinx, man?
Oh,
We don't have that yet.
It's a made-up thing by busybody white people.
Okay. So like everything else.
Like everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who starts all this shit. It's bored white people being like, you know what? You know, it'd be really interesting if we pitted everybody against each other. You just think about Dave Chappelle's white guy voice and being a rich, like a George Soros type. Like, where can I funnel money to create havoc?
Yeah. Havoc.
Oh, it's just.
But yeah, so
I'm sorry.
no, it's good. So yeah, going back to the final arguments, I think a lot of people were worried about Richards, and like you say, you know, a lot of people were hoping that Sharifisi would be the final guy. But obviously, the heads of the two sides, obviously Richards was head of the defense, and Littlefinger was head of the prosecution. So it was always going to be Richards versus Littlefinger, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Richards did amazing. I was so relieved when he tore apart. Well, first of all, I was relieved that they dropped the gun charges because a huge amount of the media has been, well, he shouldn't have had a gun and he shouldn't have traveled over state lines to that place and he shouldn't even been there in the first place. So before we even went into the final argument, all of those things were removed from the equation, which was brilliant because it meant that basically everything the media, sorry, there's American Air Force flying over my house. Noisy bastards. We're under occupation. It's fine. One of them's my cousin. But...
You should go out there with your flag, just start waving it at them.
Yeah.
Like, I see you.
I go with my potato gun, take out some of those F-15s and Ospreys. But yeah, so I feel like a lot of people were terrified, but it was good that Richards came through. And that picture, I have to admit, I don't know if you felt this, but over the weekend, I was just thinking, like, are they going to buy this? Like, and I genuinely didn't know because you could see in the picture that, I mean, listen, like, it was so ridiculously blurred and you couldn't really tell what it was, but you could vaguely see it looked like somebody might have been holding a gun. Now, some people have said the black line from the body is part of a wing mirror from a truck.
Yeah.
That has two things holding it. You know, the big truck mirrors that have the two arms rather than just one.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I've had people quite rightly say that would mean that he'd have to be left-handed. Otherwise, he'd be facing the other way. But I just thought, how many jury members are going to know that? Because they're not supposed to read the media. They're not supposed to be watching Rakita Law. And so I was thinking, man, like, if they sell that, this could be...
Well, that's like the one downside, I think, of actually watching the trial with commentary is that you are very separated from a jury member. Like, you're the most separated because you're getting, like, expert, quote-unquote, analysis, and they are talking about it as lawyers perceive it. Every once in a while, they'll tip their hat to, like, what the jury might think or whatever, but if I had just been a person and I just watched the case, I would be in a much better position to judge what a jury might think of evidence. But as we saw, they kind of didn't even go there with that picture at all because they knew how shitty it was because they used the video where they got the picture from.
Yeah.
And I think they actually shot themselves in the foot because it's not clear. You can't see what they're saying you see. No matter how many times they show it, You cannot fucking see what they're suggesting at all. And I think by showing it a few times, I think they did, because they also came back up in the rebuttal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it did.
I think that was actually damaging to them, which good, because fuck them. Because like, what are you doing? Like, why? Like, if you have to go to that length,
Yep.
to suggest that the barrel was 6 inches higher than other people are saying it was, like, you're fucking out of your mind, dude. You're crazy. You're crazy. That's crazy talk, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was ridiculous. But Kraus, I feel like Kraus is, and I probably shouldn't cast aspersions, but I don't know, man. When I look at that guy and when you hear him talk and the way how highly strung he is, and how you can tell he's got major anger issues, because when Binger gets told off, he kind of goes red and then he kind of slinks backwards a couple of feet.
Yeah.
And he might occasionally shake his head or something. But when Kraus gets told off, he's really confrontational. And I think prosecutors like Kraus can be very dangerous because they're probably quite unhappy in their private lives. And I know I'm casting aspersions and whatever, but he probably is. I don't think you can be that big. And again, I'm not trying to be mean and personal, but I don't think this is not somebody that is just obese or just overweight.
Yeah, he's probably in physical pain all the time. There's
exactly.
He doesn't sleep
His
well.
Knees hurt.
Trust me,
his wife hasn't slept with him for 10 years. You know, I don't have any hair, but neither does he. And I think they're calling him like they're calling him the faux hawk because his comb over kept flapping up like a faux hawk.
He looks disheveled and out of sorts and breathing heavy. But I agree with you, because I think that it's the worst kind of prosecutor because they're so emotionally tied to what they're doing, where they take everything personally. Like they took that shit personally, and maybe rightly.
It looked like it.
I mean, and maybe rightly so. I mean, Richards did really fucking hit him. Like, he teed that shit up and fucking schwacked him.
Yeah.
But they had it coming. Like, the kind of shit they were saying Binger was saying during closing arguments just seems like wildly inappropriate. Like, not good enough. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, kid. You're just like, what the fuck are you doing? Even I was happy that he was doing it, but at the same time, I'm like, the practical, logical part of my brain's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, why would you do this? Why would you? Unless you're trying to blow this case up on purpose, because I think it's just for television. He knows he's on TV.
Yeah.
People like as soon as this case is over, he'll be on CNN, he'll be on Joy Reid, he'll be on running the circuit, and they're gonna be like, "Wow, I really love how you told that 17-year-old kid that he's a stupid piece of shit. That was great.
Yeah. And nearly put him away for the rest of his life.
Nice Star Wars pin, asshole. Like,
yeah, yeah.
So he can go on TV, continue to call Kyle a white supremacist, because know they're going to.
And that the judge was biased and probably white supremacist as well, because he had a Kleenex box with an American flag.
Yeah, I did an episode of Nightcap last night for those of you. It's archived on my channel, and I was desperately looking for a particular interview with this guy named Ellie Mistel. He works for MSNBC. He's a black guy with like a big white fro, and any hint of patriotism, they're like, white supremacist. How much more information do you need? What more proof do you need? He said, "I'm proud to be an American" was the guy's ringtone. Yeah, like a 70-some-odd-year-old man? Do you think he's like
a judge?
A judge? Do you think like? But this is the thing. Like this, it's obscures reality again, because you're like, he's a 70-some-odd-year-old man. His notions, even if say that were true, even if his assertions were true for a current generation, which I don't believe they are, but even if they were true, he's not part of that generation.
No.
He's like, he was back in the 80s fucking going to law school or being a judge, listening to Bruce Springsteen, thinking it's great to be American. Fucking just out there, loud and proud, American flags, everything, because that's what that generation is like. Much more than our generation. They actually
Montana.
Watching football, drinking beer, hanging out with the bros.
Driving the Corvette C5, C4, C3, C4.
Maybe.
Yeah, man. And yeah, exactly. Like, And besides, this is a dude that works in a room with Old Glory flying in it all day long with an eagle hanging over his head. Like, I don't think the tissue box is the biggest issue here.
No.
And he's from Wisconsin.
Well,
Like,
yeah, they're like the heartland, like or middle America, they call it. They are smack in the middle. It's slightly, and for lack of a better way to put it, it's just slightly old fashioned in some ways. For lack of a better way to put it, I mean
I prefer the word traditional.
Traditional, actually, good. I like that. I prefer that. Yes, because we have that in the South, and me not being from the South, I appreciate it because I'm not from here. I'm from Massachusetts. Massachusetts is a shithole. It's a fucking cesspool. I hate that place.
Ruins.
I the two. It's the sports teams. I'm okay. Regionally, I am forced to be a fan of those teams. I've never even thought about being a fan of other teams. I don't actually watch that much sports either. But if I do watch sports, I root for the home team.
Go Pats.
Go Pats. Go Red Sox. Go Bruins. But like they just don't have that stuff. They don't have that kind of like respect or fealty to the country. Like it's very, very much what you see like mainstream culture nowadays, and that's and it's so now that I'm in a place that's a little bit more like you said traditional, I really appreciate it. I like the slower pace. I like that it's like a little old fashioned traditional. I like it. I like that.
And then listen, at the end of the day, like people and animals, most animals, they like to have a home. And that home is not just the apartment you live or the house that you live. It's literally like your state, your country. Like that is your home. Like, I know a lot of Americans, well, not a lot, but I know many Americans haven't traveled because it's such a big country and you have everything there. If you want to go and see canyons, go to America. If you want to see Great Lakes, go to America. If you want sandy beaches, go to America. Like if you want swamps and alligators, go to America. If you want deserts, go to America. You live in England. Well, it's good if you like green fields and beaches.
You like rain, motherfucker?
Yeah. So if you want to see nice green fields and lots of coastline, then great. But if you want deserts, then you fly to Spain because it's an hour and a half away. So I know a lot of Americans have no reason to go, but if some of these guys did leave, they would understand how amazing it feels when you get out of the plane and you step foot back onto your homeland.
Yeah.
Like I love that. However much I enjoy like being in Spain or being in Egypt, the second that I put a foot on the tarmac, in the airport, you feel your home. You know that the flavor of crisps or chips that you're going to buy, what flavors they're not going to have like strawberry and prawn.
Yeah.
It's going to be salt and vinegar, ready salted, cheese and onion, prawn cocktail. Job done.
I totally agree. I've been to Mexico and Canada, which is not really fair. I don't consider that like international travel. But
Mexico kind of.
Mexico, well, yeah, it's definitely very. Canada's like just like America light. It's just And I went to like where did I go? Montreal. It's just a city. It's just a fucking city. I went there because I could drink. I could go to bars at 18. That's why I went there. But yeah. I really want to go over there though, and my father-in-law, my wife's stepfather he's British. He's part of the British Royal Navy as a kid and stuff.
Was he
from Cornwall? I believe.
Oh, I love Cornwall.
Yep.
Such a nice place.
So
you'll love it if you go.
Yeah, so we might end up over there at some point because I'd love to. Like, I would love to travel and see stuff. I'd even like to go to Ireland, even though I don't know where.
It's nice. It's nice.
It's nice. That's where my family is from. We have family. Yeah. I have extended family there, so.
And it's cool. Like, it's cool looking around castles that are like 5 times older than America.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Actually, there's a castle I think in Ireland with my last name on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Deegan Castle.
But like I say, I don't kind of judge Americans for not traveling. Like, I know some kind of snooty people would be like, oh, they never even travel out of their own country. But to me, when your country encompasses like an eighth of the globe and has pretty much every type of landscape and every type of weather, you're much less inclined to go.
Well, but for you guys, like you said, to go to Spain, to go wherever, it's not that big of a deal. Like you're
Mm,
talking like an hour and a half flight, or
yeah.
a couple hour drive, or whatever, or take a train or whatever. It's just easier to do that. But like you said, credit to what you were saying is that America's so big that we do actually have like little monocultures, little microcultures rather, inside of America. So if you're from the East Coast and you go to the West Coast, it's like different. It's very different. It's a different way of
Yeah.
life. People act differently. People talk differently.
Yeah.
So we do definitely have that. Like you said, like here, it's just it's all here.
Mm.
It's all here. I don't have to pay $1,200 to get on a plane to go somewhere.
Well, that is the good thing, actually. Like, you can get a flight to Spain for like 30 quid, which is like $40.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I know.
I can't even. Well, you can't do that. Period in America. Even just to go somewhere in fucking the United States, it's like, because I hate driving up to up to where my wife is from. I hate it. It's like the worst
Yeah.
drive ever. It's like an 11-hour drive.
Oh my
It's
God.
boring. I'm on two different highways the whole time. It just sucks. And
Yeah,
I
that
was like,
does suck.
we've been looking, but like, well, we could just fly. Like, can we just fly up there? No, it's not. It's not cost effective at all. It's like $150 to $200 each person,
Oh yeah.
and it's
Well, I
like
guess
it's like a
gas is
90-minute
cheap.
flight. It'd be like a 90-minute flight, dude. I hate it.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
Like, I paid well, actually, four of us paid £20 each, so about $25 to fly to Amsterdam, and it was 40 minutes. So you take off,
you bastards, you
you're
fuckers,
climbing
dude.
for a bit, 20 minutes, then you're descending, then you're in Amsterdam, and it's like 20 quid.
I gotta go.
Crazy.
That is crazy, dude. That's not fair. You guys.
Yeah, but you also have loads of different landscapes that people would
Oh,
die for.
landscapes. I'm talking about drugs and hookers. What are you talking about? We.
Yeah, there's a lot of transgender prostitutes, if that's your thing.
It could be my thing. I've joked for years. I'm gonna go MGTOW, and I'm gonna move.
Okay.
I'm gonna move to the Philippines, and I'm just gonna accept the fact that
Ladyboys.
I'm gonna get into ladyboys. It's just gonna happen.
Okay.
Just gonna have to
How
accept
does
it
Sarah
at some
feel?
point. She says, "Go with God." Because I'm
Well,
always.
good for her for being understanding.
Yeah. Oh no, my wife's very. We don't have like problems with that kind of stuff. But
Yes.
like I went to a strip club with a buddy, and I used my credit card. And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna use your credit card?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Sarah's not gonna care. You went to a strip club?" I'm like, "No." I'm a
Oh.
35-year-old man. We've been married for like 10 years. We don't care about that shit. As long as I'm
Yeah.
not sticking my dick in somebody else, she doesn't care.
Yeah. Oh, good for her.
I mean, and then
Yeah,
if
mine-
it's a lady
mine's-
boy, it doesn't even count. So whatever.
That's true.
Yeah,
That is true.
doesn't even count, Mark.
Especially if you're the one. Yeah, no, you're right. Um, so.
'Cause I'm not gay, so it doesn't count.
No, no. It's just whatever I say. So yeah, I guess. So today, what would actually be happening today? Because obviously they start the jury deliberation.
Yeah, they're coming in.
Today.
They're probably in there right now. They got in there recently. They're gonna pick the 12 jurors. They have like this like bingo style turn thing, crank,
Oh, the
crank
little
thing.
tumbler.
Yeah,
The
the
little
tumbler,
tumbler.
and they pull out like the numbers. They're gonna pick 12. I think they have 6 there just in case anything that are gonna hang out, just in case anything happens to anybody, like
Yeah.
emergency or heart attacks, whatever. And
Yep.
it's people are thinking it's gonna come back quickly, and they think that'll be a good thing in this case. Normally, that's a bad thing
Yes.
because usually that favors prosecution. But apparently, from what I understand, from what I've been listening to people say, that
Yeah.
the case probably will come back quickly, probably by tonight, maybe.
Okay.
If it doesn't come back by tonight or my time tonight, well, I guess it would still be your time tonight. But like, then that may be an issue. If this goes to like Thursday, you're gonna be like, what is going on in there?
Yeah.
What could they possibly be talking about?
Yeah. I mean, my first instinct is that it's so difficult, isn't it? Because however hard you try, you've always got your own internal biases. So even if I try desperately to think of the opposing arguments, I still generally come. So I'll give you an example. I heard on the radio this morning. It's like the American Air Base radio, and they were saying, well, he shot him 4 times. Excessive. And I was thinking,
Did you
yeah,
love
I
that?
guess that kind of is excessive. But then I thought, but it was so quick.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The guy literally said, he's like, why didn't you just shoot him twice?
Yeah.
Why did you have to shoot him 4 times? Like, it happened in a blink of an eye. The kid was do. That's it. It's over. It's over.
But do you think that the jury, you might have some people that don't really know guns that have obviously never been attacked?
I
Do
think
you think there might be some people there that think, couldn't he have just gone bang?
I think, well, considering where they are,
Mm-hmm.
the likelihood of those people being familiar with firearms is probably higher.
Mm.
But yeah, that's totally a possibility. But I don't see anybody, like, if you watch the video and you watch what happened, like, anybody rationally could suggest that, like, he went overboard. I mean, it's just, it happens so quickly.
Yeah.
So quickly. Whether it's like 2 or 4 shots almost seems arbitrary.
Yeah.
Like, because that's their argument. Like, it's like, why didn't you shoot him in the kneecaps, dude? Big Paul says
Jesus.
Taiwan, heroin and ladyboys is the backup plan. That's Big Paul. That's Big Paul, everybody. And then I have this naked HD XYZ. Here, girls want everyone, even you.
Excellent.
Great.
Is that legit?
No.
Can I get a phone number?
Report unwanted or commercial spam. Sure.
Have you noticed a massive upsurge? Upsurge? Is that even a word? A massive surge in porn spam in comment sections over the last month.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have. Yeah, it's been happening all the time.
Crazy, man. Like, sometimes it's like 70% of the comments.
Yeah. It sucks.
Bonkers.
You get excited. You're like, oh shit. Oh man, I'm really heating up. Oh, it's just a bunch of porn bots. Fuck. I can find my own porn. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I wonder if things like that work. I don't know.
Well, they must work. Don't you think? For them to do it.
Well, yeah, there must be some return on that. There has to be, right?
Because otherwise they wouldn't be increasing it. I feel like they'd be scaling back.
Do you think it's just something? Well, if you have bots doing it though, like, even if it's like, because it's probably like 1%, 0.5% of people will actually like look at what they're spamming you with.
Yeah.
But it just puts it in your head. So
Yeah.
you just think about it more than you would naturally. It's like when you watch like a lot of like network television, and there's like car commercials or beer commercials or food commercials. We're like, oh, yeah, I guess I would like some pizza. Like, we're that pliable. We're that stupid.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, that's like the 4th Pizza Hut commercial I've seen today. Man, I could really go for some fucking pizza, dude. Like, or maybe I'm just fat. That's probably what it is.
No,
Any reason to eat pizza is a good reason for me, so I just blame the TV. So when my wife finds me at 2 a.m, be like, I saw a lot of Pizza Hut commercials today. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not very easily sold with adverts on TV. Like, I'll just skip adverts, man. I freaking hate watching adverts because I never buy anything.
No, I'm the same way. Yeah, I don't like engage with it. But you know what's weird? Because I've been basically cut the cable cord like more than a decade ago. Basically, I have not had my own cable since like 2007 or something like that. So I didn't see commercials really for a long time until I got Hulu, which is like one of our streaming services over here. And then I got reacquainted with commercials, and I forgot how awful they are.
Yeah.
But I don't watch much television, period. So I'm just more of a movie person. And then TV is like such an investment, only to always be fucking disappointed. It's like, okay, I've watched 200 hours of this show, and they whiffed it. They fucked it up at the end. I think Game of Thrones was like my last. I'm like, I'm not investing in this shit anymore.
Do you know, I didn't watch the last series of Game of Thrones. I watched it all the way up to the last one, and then for some reason I don't know, I just got distracted.
Or disinterested. I've done that before. There's shows that I've like gone all the way up until like the last 2 episodes and just never watched them. Yeah. I like something. I like miniseries. I can do a miniseries. Like I like a good miniseries.
I'll tell you what I love, or I'm absolutely addicted to, and I wish they would do more, is True Detective.
I think they are doing another season.
I think they are.
And I know Matthew
McConaughey
and Woody Harrelson have talked about revisiting those characters.
That first one was so good.
Oh, dude, the first season is amazing. I was a little slightly disappointed with the last episode. slightly. I was really hoping that it would just get fucking wild. Like, let's just do H.P. Lovecraft. Let's just do the cosmic horror, the dread, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they opened all these doors that never get
Yeah.
really looked into. Like,
Closed.
they're implying that there's a cabal of rich people that molest and kill like kids and rape women and
Trust the plan.
yeah. But dude, I mean, yeah, that was a show. I was like on the edge of my seat. I was there every week, torrenting it. I did not have HBO.
Yeah, me too.
Me and my wife would be like, "What time is it? Is the torrent up yet?"
Yeah. But no,
Bouncing around,
I
but yeah.
absolutely loved that. The second one,
It's okay.
I
It's
actually
different.
found it was very different. Obviously, saying I also think like I have this weird obsession with the Louisiana area. I just feel like it's really mystical and I don't know, man. Like
It's cool. It is a little.
Yeah.
There's like such a rich history there. Like the culture there is like mysterious and
Yeah.
there's like magic, like because of like the way that like basically Caribbean people bringing over like voodoo and stuff, and like it's all
Voodoo.
kind of it's all like mixed into the culture, and it's all part of the fabric.
Yeah.
So it just gives this kind of sense of that. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they used that old fort. I don't know if you're ever nerdy enough to look into it like me, but you know when he's chasing him through what seems to be this kind of overgrown den. So that was actually a Confederate fort.
Okay.
Or maybe it wasn't Confederate, maybe it was just American. But anyway, yeah, there's a fort built in like the 1850s or 60s. And I love the use of that, like the fight scene where they go in the sort of main room, because there's obviously a lot of corridors that they're chasing him around, and then he ends up in the main room. And I won't spoil it for people, but yeah. So I loved the use of that. The second series I found just a bit harder to follow, but I thought I'll tell you who I did thought was that tall guy's name.
Oh,
Was it
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn? I thought Vince Vaughn did his CV, as we would, I guess you say CV as well. CV,
I don't
like
think
your
so.
job.
Oh,
your,
well, yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
so,
normal.
well-
It's not common. Usually used.
Oh, okay. But like, yeah, I thought he did himself a lot of favors in that role because
He was great.
yeah, I thought he did really well. I thought he sold it really well. I thought he played that kind of troubled anti-hero really well.
Actually, if you want to see another really great Vince Vaughn performance, have you ever seen Brawl in Cell Block 99?
No.
Oh, dude, I think you would like that. That's a good ass movie.
Yeah.
I tell everybody I can to go check this dude's movies out. Is S. Craig Zoller. He did this movie called Bone Tomahawk, which is like a western with cannibals in it, with Kurt Russell. That's excellent. He did Brawl in Cell Block 99, and then he did this other one. The last one he did was Dragged Across Concrete, which is Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson, and they're cops. They're like dirty cops. Also excellent. But if you're just looking specifically for like a fantastic Vince Vaughn performance, Brawl in Cell Block 99. I cannot tell enough people
Okay.
to go check that movie out. It's one of my favorite movies of the past few years. It's just a hard ass movie. He's just a hard ass in that movie, and he plays the complete opposite of what he usually plays. Kind of like he does in True Detective season 2, because usually the motor mouth, like
Yeah.
goofy
I mean,
kind.
it's always like comedies or the
Well,
sort of lanky love interest.
Yeah, even when he wasn't doing, because he didn't start doing comedies. He started doing like indie dramas, swingers, stuff like that. Before he did what was it, Wedding Crashers? That's like when he became like a comedian. He started making mostly comedies. But he's always like a smarmy, sleazy, smart ass kind of guy. But
Yeah.
he plays completely the opposite in Brawl in Cell Block 99. Like he's like quiet and stoic and like a brawler. Like he really makes you intimidated by him because he's
Okay.
just like a hammer. It's awesome. You got to check it out.
He's a big guy as well, isn't he? So I guess.
Yeah, no, and they really like, you don't realize like how intimidating that would be until I saw him in the context of Brawl in Cell Block 99. I'm like, oh yeah, he would fucking destroy you. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's like 6'6" or something.
yeah,
Isn't
he's
he?
a big ass. He's a big dude.
Which is rare for Hollywood actors.
Yeah, because Nobody, it's so much of it's like driven by ego, and some of our biggest stars are little guys like me. Like Tom Cruise is like he's like 5'4" or something. He's like actually
Yeah.
he's about Joseph Rosenbaum's size.
Yes.
He's
Yeah,
a little
because
fella.
I actually saw I saw Brad Pitt from a distance, and in all of the films, like I always thought Brad Pitt would be like 6'1" or something, but he's like 5'9",
Yeah, he's
like
like
5'8".
he's probably my height. Yeah.
Yeah, like so that was kind of crazy, but yeah, I guess it's just easier to like you're gonna find more actors and more extras around average height
Yes.
than you're gonna get. So if you've got a guy that's a brilliant actor, but he's 6'4", and everybody else on set is average height, it's gonna be tough. You're gonna have to work those camera angles.
Well,
But
they literally have to do that. Like it was you ever see the movie Good Will Hunting?
yep, yeah,
Matt Damon. So he's short, but Minnie Driver, who's his co-star's love interest in the movie, is very tall. She's like 6'2" or something.
Jesus,
And or maybe 6 foot even. She's a very tall lady. And
yeah,
so they had like a scene where they're walking down the street together, and it's like a medium shot, and he's up on a bunch of apple crates,
no way.
walking next to her so that they're at eye level.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they do shit like that all the time, or they'll put the male actors in like platform shoes, so for when you can't see it. Actually, they did that a lot. Martin Scorsese's last movie, The Irishman.
Oh yeah.
Robert De Niro was wearing like giant platforms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a lot
Jesus, that film was long.
of. It was. I loved it though. I know it wasn't for everybody, but I really liked it. As a fan of Scorsese, it's kind of like a period piece, or not a period piece, but a period on his gangster movies. It's like his last gangster movie, and it's one that kind of brings the entire kind of ethos of what he was trying to accomplish and grounds it, and then looks at it reflectively like an old man, and actually seeing the cost of the kind of characters that he's spent time with over the years. What are they actually like? What's it like to be an old man having been one of those people? And that's what I thought it was fascinating. But I understand, but it's very long. It's like,
Yeah, I don't even think I ever finished it. I think I watched like 2.5 hours, and then I was like, oh, I'll watch the other hour another time. But,
I hear you.
I was going to ask you something actually. I thought about this last night. Obviously, we're coming towards a very sad moment, and that moment is Quentin Tarantino's number 10.
Yeah.
Do you believe him when he says, I will not work on any other movies after number 10? Or do you believe what he said a year before that, which was, I just won't direct any other movies after number 10?
I think it's purely he won't direct. But he's been very specific. He makes sure he's talking about movies.
Right. Okay.
I think he has said that he is interested in doing like long form storytelling, which would be miniseries, television. He's even kind of already dipped his toe into that stuff, right? With the last couple of movies that they're very long, and they could have been extended.
Kill Bill.
Or Hateful Eight, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, very easily could have been miniseries. You could have added, you could,
true.
if they were an hour longer and you just made it a 4-episode miniseries. And I know he has the footage to do it. Actually, they've been talking about that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing, that there's like a 10-hour version of that story. They filmed enough stuff for like 10 hours.
I saw him interviewed recently, and he said that was a fake rumor. He said he could maybe add in 30 minutes or something, like another 31 minutes.
That could be true. I might have missed that then.
But I know people were saying what you said, because the guy was like, I've heard a rumor that there's enough footage for like da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, I've heard that as well. But he said, realistically, there's probably another 30 minutes or 32 minutes that I could get in.
And that's probably true, because he's not somebody who like tries to be super secretive about stuff after the fact.
Yeah.
So that's probably true. I'd watch it extended. I'd watch 30 more minutes of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed that movie a lot.
I did. Yeah.
I hope he does something drastically different for the last one. Although, which would be, because I've heard like he wants to maybe make like a full-on comedy or do something like that. I was like, man, I'd really like to see him do like a horror movie or something.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Because he's already got like the kind of the like I could very easily see like the vibe of that. Although I suppose people kind of consider Death Proof to be like his thriller horror movie, which
I liked Death
I
Proof.
like Death Proof because of Kurt Russell. I mean, Kurt Russell's incredible.
Yeah, and that Challenger, man, that
Oh my
Dodge
God.
Challenger.
It's still to this day is one of my favorite movie moments ever. He's like, "This car is 100% Death Proof, but sweetheart, to get the to get the benefit of that, you really got to be sitting in my seat." And then he just he just goes head on into that head on collision.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Actually, it was wasn't that Rose McGowan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Queen
Yeah.
Rose.
See, I thought that film would be. I kind of thought it would be a bit lame because I was like, oh, I've seen the original. Vanishing. Is it Vanishing Point?
Yeah, it's like loosely. I mean, they modeled like the second half of the movie, the car chase stuff, off of Vanishing Point. Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of just thought, how good can this really be? But I suppose you have to have faith, and I know some people don't. It's not their favorite, but I really liked it. I thought if you just take it for what it is and don't expect like another Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, like just accept it for what it is. And it's cool.
Yeah, because he literally, I mean, they went in with a purpose. Him and Robert Rodriguez were like, we're going to make grindhouse movies, like that you would see at a drive-in in the 70s and 80s. So Robert Rodriguez does his version of a John Carpenter movie. And then, which is not, it's like a fake. It's actually, the Robert Rodriguez one, Planet Terror, which also stars Rose McGowan, is like a fake grindhouse movie. Whereas Tarantino's Death Proof is like a real grindhouse movie. Like I could see that coming out, actually legitimately being released back in the day. In a way, like in a way that Planet Terror is not. It's almost, Planet Terror is almost like a satire. It's like too self-aware.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen? You've never seen like Death or what is it? Grindhouse, like the double. Watch both of the shortened versions of the movie. You can watch them together because when they released it in the theaters, you went to see both of them, and each movie was like an hour 10, something like that. And then they had a bunch of fake trailers, like before the movie, in the middle of the movie. Oh wow!
But I do really like Robert Rodriguez. Like I was a huge fan.
Like Spy
I was
Kids,
very young.
like Spy Kids. Yeah, Spy Kids rocks. I'm joking.
I don't even know he did that.
He directed all the Spy Kids movies and Shark Girl and Lava Boy. He basically only exclusively makes movies for his kids now, which hey, good for him. But
well, good for him. Yeah, but because God, I hope I got this right because this would be embarrassing. But I'm sure he did Dusk Till Dawn. Did he do Dusk Till Dawn?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I loved I was a huge fan of those kind of 3 or 4 years where they did Dusk Till Dawn, The Mexican, Desperado. I can't remember. There's a few different ones, and I don't know how many he did, but I just thought, I loved that kind of Mexican-y.
Yeah, it's like the culturally specific stuff. He did like Mexican badass action movies, like westerns, kind of like. Because he started with El Mariachi, which is the first one. That's the one where you get noticed. El Mariachi is the movie he made famously for like $5,000.
Was that the one that he remade into The Mexican?
Into Desperado.
Oh, okay.
He did Desperado, and then he did From Dusk Till Dawn, and then he did. I want to say he did something in between, but yeah, he did Once Upon a Time in Mexico as one of the Johnny Depp.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
He was the sequel basically to Desperado. Same character.
Love Johnny Depp's character in that.
Johnny Depp was great in that.
CIA nutter.
And then he did like Spy Kids. He's done a bunch of kids movies because he does them like all like at his house. He has like his own Troublemaker Studios. He did Sin City. That's right.
Oh, I love that as well.
Yeah, he co-directed Sin City with the writer of the comic books, Frank Miller. And then most recently he did Alita Battle Angel.
Okay.
Which is actually not bad. It's a fun movie. Fun science fiction. Whatever. It was cool. Yeah, now he makes Netflix movies for kids. Actually, my son really likes one of them. We Can Be Heroes. He loves it. He gets all of his celebrity friends in to come and stand in front of a green screen at his house, and he puts them in a superhero movie. It's like
Happy days.
It's the most like do-it-yourself type movies that are being made right now. It's kind of crazy that because he does everything. He shoots, he writes, he edits, he does the score, he does everything. Yeah, and he does it all in his house. It's like in his garage. He's got like a giant. I think he built it when they made Sin City. He's got like a giant like warehouse on his property down in Texas.
Well, cool. If you can do it, then good for you, man.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the dream, I guess, for a lot of people. Although I'm sure there are loads of people that just love getting out there and having amazing locations and searching for the locations and all the rest of it. But
Yeah, I think that would be part of the fun, I suppose. But if that's not your style, if you're gonna make movies in front of green screens, might as well do it at your house.
yeah, that's true. What is your favorite Morgan Freeman film?
Oh god, that's tough, dude. Well, favorite Morgan Freeman movie. One of my favorite performances, probably Shawshank. I think that's
Yeah, that's a
pretty
good
cliche.
choice.
It's a cliche answer, but it's an honest one. Seven. He's incredible in Seven. He just has a gravity to him. He has a weight. He's kind of like Denzel Washington, where he's
Robin
like
Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Actually, I grew up loving that movie.
I loved.
Christian.
Yeah. Is there no sun in this cursed country? I
I
felt
thought
that. I
you
was like,
you
there
love.
is no
Oh,
sun.
you must have loved Kevin Costner and his great accent.
Uh, well, do you know what? It's funny. My my first favorite film was The Dirt Bike Kid when I was a kid.
Hmm.
Then Top Gun, then Days of Thunder, and then I started getting obsessed with like cycling and stuff, and I really enjoyed American Flyers, which was
Oh yeah,
yeah. So it was obviously Kevin Costner, and then it was quite a few B actors that loads of people would recognize, but
yeah.
probably not be able to name. And it was about Kevin Costner was playing he used to be a professional cycler, and now he's a doctor, and then his brother, spoiler alert, his brother has a blood clot in the brain or an aneurysm,
Hmm.
and so they decide to enter the Hell of the West, which is kind of like the Tour de oh my God, I've forgotten the name of the state. The mountainy state next to Utah and Nevada. Not Nevada.
Uh,
Begins with a C.
Colorado.
Colorado.
Jesus, yeah.
So yeah, they enter
Sorry,
that.
that's my bad. I'm from my country.
No, it's fine. I was thinking of Columbus. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah, so they enter that race, and then they all think it's David because they think it's David that's got that from their dad because their dad died of it.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! But it's not David. It is his brother, Kevin Costner. And Kevin gets a bleed in the race. And then his little brother goes on and wins.
Yeah, it's
And
like
it
one of
was,
the. It's been years since I've seen American Flyer. I
mm,
probably haven't seen it since I was probably like a teenager.
mm.
I have to revisit that. I like
Um,
as the older I get, the more I like these kind of like sentimental movies like that, where it's
yeah,
just like feel good
yep,
sentimentality. I get to cry a little bit at the end. I dab the tear away.
yeah. But yeah, so what I was going to say, sorry, was because I'd seen him in that, I knew he was American. As an Englishman, with him playing Robin Hood, Robin of the Hood. It felt like he had just toned down his American accent rather than trying an English accent.
He comes in and out. It like depends what he's
Right.
saying.
But it was not like an offensive
No, it wasn't at all. No,
for
no, no.
me because it just felt like he was being slightly less American. I believe the director said, Kev, don't try the accent.
No, he did. That's what because Kevin Costner famously and now
He wanted
okay.
to do a Nottingham accent, didn't
Yes,
he?
and he does it when they first started filming, and the director they got in a huge fight about it, and then he
It's
showed Kevin Costner the dailies, and Kevin Costner was like, okay, because there's like
yeah,
one scene, it's like one with him and Marion. It was like the first thing they shot,
yeah,
and he's doing it, but you can't.
okay.
It comes in and out though, because I think they dubbed over some of it. So
Yeah,
there's
I
like
mean,
certain words, certain phrases that you'll hear him say, and it sounds like that. But I mean,
the tr
because I like what did I watch recently? What the hell was it? Oh, I watched Amadeus recently. The one about Mozart, and
yeah,
all of the characters, most of the they're supposed to be Germans. Most of the people are supposed to be Germans.
yeah,
But the director was like, I don't want to distract people with everybody trying to do German accents. So,
yeah,
and I've hired all English and Americans. So what we're gonna do is like the German people are just gonna speak English, but
yep,
Italians and Lithuanian, like some other languages that were in there, they're gonna actually do their accents and languages. But we're gonna have like this is like our German. This is our median. Because we're
Yeah.
going to spend so much time with them. We don't want to distract from the performances, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I think that actually works really well because it is distracting sometimes when you see somebody, especially when somebody does a bad one. And I know this from being from Massachusetts. Whenever I watch a movie with people from Massachusetts, or supposed to be from Massachusetts or from Boston, it drives me insane.
Like The Perfect Storm.
Like The Perfect Storm, yeah. The
But
Perfect
I
Storm, The Town. Although at least some of those, most of the people in the town are not awful, but
Well, some of them were Massachusettsians, weren't they?
yeah. Well, what is it? Ben Affleck, and they're kind of orbit that world. They're kind of from there. Matt Damon, because Good Will Hunting's another one where it's like not egregiously bad.
Yeah.
But there are some dude that are fucking awful.
I'm sure, but the one in Robin Hood, the reason I'm glad they kind of did it that way is because it's one thing to ask, so I think a lot of English actors can do reasonable American accents because we have so much American culture.
Yeah.
But the last time America had loads of English culture was the 60s. And I just don't think that many Americans find it easy. I also think American is kind of like English, and you're adding parts to the accent. Whereas going from American to English is just taking things off the accent.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it's the same with Australian to English. Like Australian is almost like leaving even more things off. But yeah, so I'm glad that they didn't make him kind of go proper English. Or sorry, what he wanted to do, Nottingham, because he wanted originally to do a Nottingham accent. And holy shit, dude! Like if you struggle just to do a middle British accent, you are really gonna struggle to do a Nottingham accent because that's what Russell Crowe did in his.
Oh my god!
Version. People hated it.
Yes, he did that. And did you see the interview when somebody like asked Russell Crowe about the accent during an interview, and it was just like, and he was like making some because he was kind of all over the place in the movie, like, in terms of quality and stuff like that. And the interviewer implied that he had done it on purpose to try to like, because that's how his character Robin Hood would try to be like mysterious to people around him, and he was just like, "Are you fucking taking the piss out of me, mate?" He's like, "What the fuck is that?" Like he got mad. He got really mad.
Bet he did.
Yeah, because Russell Crowe, known to tell you how it is sometimes.
Yeah.
I actually love Russell Crowe. Actually, he's a guy I really love Russell Crowe.
Yeah, me too.
Did you see Unhinged?
Oh my god, man! No, I didn't. No, I feel really bad.
You need to watch Unhinged, dude. It is one of. I was so shocked at how much I liked that movie, and Russell Crowe, fat Russell Crowe, is awesome. He's crazy in that movie. He's fucking wild. This is a spoiler. I tell everybody this. This is how the movie opens. So it's like the first 2 minutes. It's like one shot of Russell Crowe driving up to a house that you later discover is his ex-wife's house. It's just one shot. He gets out of his truck. He has a hammer and a can of gas, and he just goes up to the door, rings the doorbell, kicks it open, fucking beats somebody to death with a hammer, and then sets the house on fire. That's how the movie starts. Like it's
Jesus.
The movie's fucking crazy. He's crazy. He literally is unhinged. It's a perfect title. It's a great like shitty thriller from like the 90s. Like that's what it felt like. Very 90s era thriller, and I am a sucker for that stuff.
Dude, I was going to say the same. Give me a 90s thriller any day.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that stuff.
Like you were yesterday, you had mentioned that you watched like Primal Fear and Seven. Like, I love that kind of stuff. I love that shit.
Yeah.
We don't get enough of it anymore. Now everything's just these giant tent poles. Well, and now all that stuff's on TV now, but I just missed the movie version. I missed like the 2 hours. Tell me a story, please. Like,
yeah, exactly. I was going to say the same thing. I mean, like, you're right. Like what you said yesterday, there are a lot more people doing those kind of like a short series or whatever they're called, and that is great. But I still miss having like a 2 hour 20-minute thriller like Seven, because I just think, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like when it's one film, and I say film because we call them films here. I know you guys say movies, so I don't know if there's a difference, and I'm sounding really pompous, but we just call them films. But yeah, so like movie film, I just think like when it's one project and it's going to be one cut, I don't know, man. There's just something a little bit more special
No,
about that.
well, like it literally is the art form, right? Like there's something to be said of being able to tell a coherent, full-fledged story in 2 hours or 90 minutes
Mm,
even, and have it feel complete. Have it feel like you've
yeah,
gone on a journey, that you got to know characters, that they changed over the period of time. Like to actually pull that off is impressive.
yeah,
I think sometimes like people love like television and prestige TV and how fancy everything. I think it's almost like a cheat. Like if you have 100 hours to tell your story,
yeah.
eh,
But if you've got to cut that down,
you got to cut that down to 2 hours. Let's see what you got.
yeah,
That's why I think a lot of people that try to transition, especially creators and stuff, they try to transition from television to movies, usually do pretty bad because they don't have a handle on that format, the art form of
yeah.
it. It's a different discipline. But it's the one that I like. I don't know. It's one that I've always really admired and been enamored with. Is just movies, storytelling, and movies specifically.
Yeah. I
But
see you have a Mad Max poster behind you.
oh yeah, I have the Fury
Is that
Road.
Thunder Road?
Fury Road. Yeah.
Fury Road, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
God
There
damn,
it
man.
is.
I loved that was a great film, but I love the originals.
Oh, dude. Yeah. The Road Warrior is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Such a good film.
All-time favorite. I don't think they like as cool as Fury Road is. As cool as like all the car choreography and all that stuff, which is like again, that's a perfect example. That can be nothing else than a movie. That has to be a movie,
Yeah, oh
and
yeah.
it is a minor miracle that that movie makes sense at all. Like I don't understand how they did it. I don't understand how George Miller pulled it off. But the Road Warrior, that like some of the car stuff in the Road Warrior is so awesome. Like that
Yeah.
final the thing with like the oil tank or is it oil tanker? Yeah, I guess. Or the gas truck, whatever you want to
Yeah, I
call it.
think it's gas.
Fuel
Yeah.
truck. A fuel truck. There we go. There's the word, Sean.
Nice.
Um like and when they're all battling for it and everybody's climbing,
Yeah.
like it's so awesome, and it's practical. Like they're really out there doing it, and that's
Yes,
what's
that's what I was gonna
awesome.
say.
That's what's so awesome, and that's I to credit to Fury Road. They really did a lot of that shit, and
I
that's why
know.
it's awesome. That's why the spectacle of it is awesome. You're not watching a fucking cartoon. You're not watching a computer program.
Yep.
Like every Marvel movie that comes out, like their last 20 minutes are just like CGI nightmares.
Oh, I'm so done with that shit, man. Like
Um,
that's I was actually gonna mention that about Fury Road. Is that even though that I think that the era and the type of movie and the way they shot it was perfect when they did the original Mad Maxes. Like, you know how a certain type of film, the actual film I'm talking about itself,
mhm.
the material, has a certain look to it in certain eras. I think that particular film they used in the 80s with the Australian or wherever they did it, Africa or Australian desert, and those type of cars, everything was perfect because they were like 70s, 80s cars
Mhm.
that would have looked like that then, and the film just makes it look amazing. But they did a really good job in Fury Road because I'm sure you've probably seen it. I watched the behind the scenes thing, and I think they did use one of the English dudes that was originally in the early Mad Max films to do the cars, along with some American guys as
Mhm.
well. And Jesus, man, some of the cars they built were insane, like triple V8 engine things with massive tractor tires,
Yeah.
and they were breaking CV joints every shot. Like the joint to turn the wheels,
Yeah.
like they kept snapping because there was too much torque and too much weight because of all the metal.
Yeah.
Dude, it was crazy. I can't believe they did that. I'm so proud that they did it in real life
Yeah.
because they could have easily thrown that to a studio and said, "Make us some crazy cars.
Oh yeah, exactly. And it would have
We
been
won't bother even touching anything."
and it would defeat its own point of existing. Like a
Mm,
movie like
I
that
agree.
has to be like that to work. It has to be practical. You have to feel it. You really need to feel like you're in the seat with them. But even though I mean Fury Road I think does a really probably the best mix of CGI because it doesn't overdo it because there is some moments in the movie that are definitely enhanced.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was such a crazy making of that Tom Hardy was apparently very unhappy because he had no idea what was going on. Because when you make a movie
Really?
like that, you're shooting little shots here, little shots there, and then you go in and editing and you put it together like a puzzle. but he actually publicly apologized to the director because he's like, I had no idea what was going on, and I didn't trust you, and I don't know why.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Good for him.
him and Charlize Theron, they did not get along.
I heard. I heard. I don't know why. I mean, I've heard Tom Hardy's he's a pretty, well, it's difficult. Like, I did hear one bad thing about him from, God, what is his name? Who is that? He's kind of a weirdo. He used
Shia
to be in a
LaBeouf?
kid. Yes, Shia LaBeouf. I heard Shia LaBeouf said, Tom Hardy is a prick when I was doing, what was the film he did with him again?
Oh, I can't. It was like Outlaws or something.
Something like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're like.
And he said, all Tom Hardy did, and the Australian guy who I can't remember, he said all they did was sit around talking about what color they were going to order their Ferrari 458s in. And listen, like,
Yeah, because
I can
this
see
was
that.
Tom Hardy was on the rise though. Like he was new famous
Yes.
when he made that movie with Shia LaBeouf. Because actually Shia LaBeouf that was their moment when they were both kind of coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, Shia LaBeouf is like he's a weirdo. He's a little
Yeah.
bit psychotic. Yeah, he tried to get like fist fight Tom Hardy, and Tom Hardy like punched him and laughed at him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
But Tom's not a big dude either, though. Like he gets jacked on because he uses steroids to get jacked,
oh
as
yeah,
all actors
yeah.
do.
Well,
And I
would
don't
you
blame
want to
them.
would you want to fight Tom Hardy in Warrior?
Fuck no.
Fuck, dude, he looks like he's like a little Wolverine. Like,
He reminds me of every hard bastard in an English pub.
yes,
Just insane, and they don't care if they break themselves breaking you, as long as they break you.
yeah, it's like what is it with hooligan, soccer hooligans?
Hooligan, yeah, hooligans, yeah. But yeah, I thought Warrior again. That's on my shelf, isn't it? Yeah, woohoo! I thought that was a great film. I think it's massively underrated. Well, I suppose it's only underrated by people that haven't watched it.
Yeah, because people dismiss it because it's UFC, so they dismiss it, and they don't. I mean, there's a lot of it hits like every cliche in the book, but it does it well. And
it's a movie.
I've definitely teared up while watching Warrior.
I did.
Especially what's his name? Oh, their dad. Why am I blanking on his name?
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte is phenomenal in that movie.
He is amazing.
It's one of my favorite Nick Nolte performances. Like, period.
Yeah.
Like, he's incredible. Like when he's in the hotel room and he's like drunk and listening to the audio tape.
God, Moby Dick.
And he just starts freaking out.
Yeah. And then he hugs him. He goes up. He goes on the bed.
Oh, dude, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it.
Dude, like that. Yeah, it was amazing. I would say, like, actually, my favorite part. I feel really bad, but what was his name? Joel Edgerton. No, is it Joel Edgerton?
Yeah.
Joel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually could have cut out everything to do with Joel Edgerton and still really enjoyed that movie because my favorite bits were the beginning to do with his he's a Philadelphia kid, comes from a broken home, and then he ended up in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I don't want to ruin it for everyone, but I just really enjoyed the beginning parts about his family and then his upbringing, and then I also really enjoyed Tom Hardy's fights. But Joel Edgerton is obviously playing the guy that's really good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's good at kind of using your weight against you, whereas Tom Hardy is just the tank that's going to run through you even if he takes a few elbows to the face.
Yeah.
And everybody wants that. No one wants to watch a movie about someone developing the art of the perfect rear naked choke. But there we go. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think everybody should check it out. It's definitely worth checking out, even if you're skeptical about it. You think you wouldn't like it. Actually, the guy that made that, he's made a couple movies that are okay. He did a Warrior, The Accountant. Have you ever seen The Accountant?
I've heard of it.
Very weird action movie with Ben Affleck where he's like this autistic hitman, and he works as like a claims adjuster during the day. It's like his cover.
Okay.
But it's a really weird movie, but it works, and you shouldn't work. So you're watching, and you're like, why is this good? Like I can't articulate it. I need to watch it again. For years I don't know why, but for years in my head that I have said to nobody until now, I'm like, I got to watch The Accountant again. But yeah. Well, so just to kind of wrap up, do you have any Any thoughts, final thoughts, or final predictions about Kyle Rittenhouse if he is acquitted? Will Kenosha burn?
So first of all, free the Kenosha kid. Second of all, predictions. They always say you shouldn't make predictions, but I'm going to because everyone else is. So if there's been a curse, it's already out there. But so I guess obviously, they've removed all of the gun charges and the traveling here, there, and whatever. So really, we're just looking at intentional homicide, reckless homicide, and then they were debating over having intentional reckless homicide.
Yes.
Which is really bizarre to me.
Yeah. Because you couldn't actually charge somebody with that if he's not guilty of the other one. So they're just doing anything they can to get him charged with something.
Exactly. But if the jury has listened to the defense, then they will be under the impressions, I believe, that if they find him not guilty of intentional homicide on Joseph Rosenbaum, I actually think he stands a 85% chance of being found not guilty on the rest of them.
Yeah.
Because to me, everything else is cut and dry self-defense. I think that one is as well, but I think the others are just listen.
Well, that's the big hurdle. That's the big hurdle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you have a gun in your face with a chambered round, all that dude needs to do is sneeze and you lose your head. If you cannot defend yourself then, we may as well get rid of self-defense laws. So I'm going to say if they find him not guilty of the first one, he's got an 85% chance of being found not guilty on all of them. I do think that the jury, I think there will be some people in there that are afraid, and I definitely think that at least one member of the jury will have been bought off by somebody on the woke side. It would not surprise me if they've been given 50 grand to give some insights and to be the one person that refuses to be the 12th man of the, so that they all say not guilty. Because obviously it only takes one person and then it's a hung jury and he could go into another trial.
Yeah.
So I would give him, I guess overall, I'd say a 70% chance of not guilty on all. And an 70% chance, 65% chance of not guilty on all, and an 80% chance of they'll find him guilty on something that will be fairly minimal. So like attempted reckless. I don't even know how this works, but attempted reckless something or other on the first one, and then they'll give him like 4 years, which would be 2 if he served it. He's already served a year, so they'll give him another year. He'll have to do another year.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty fair analysis of where he's probably at. I want him to walk out of the court today or tomorrow or whenever. I want him to walk out. But and after watching the closing, like it really kind of put me at ease. It did, but there is always, like you had suggested, like that social pressure is huge on that jury.
It's huge.
And the idea that they're not looking at stuff, I just don't buy it. I know some people feel differently. Even actually I was watching something with Robert Barnes and he's like, I tend to think jurors take it seriously and I'm like, how can you avoid it?
You can't.
If you open Facebook, if you go look at anything.
And it's arguably worse to avoid it in this day and age because you'll be looking at something on eBay and you see a CNN thing pop up and the headline will be so I don't know what the right word is, but it will be kind of a lot. So the headline will be something like Kenosha kid shot Joseph Rosenbaum in the back.
Yeah, it'll be misleading. Yeah. Oh no.
He was a chaos.
Oh, these assholes! They couldn't even say that because they can't say that because it's not true. They had to say he was in a horizontal position. You're like, if you have to say that, you have to use that kind of linguistic gymnastics to make your point. You're lying.
Yeah.
You're lying because you would just say shot in the back. Everybody understands that. Everybody understands what that implies. If it were true, you would just say that. You would not say he was in a horizontal position.
Yeah. And we should just clear that up. So for anybody that didn't see that. The third shot, I think it was the third shot, was as Rosenbaum was falling forwards towards Kyle, and Kyle is kind of leaning back. Kyle is leaning backwards. The third shot because Rosenbaum was at this sort of angle and Kyle's gun was at like that angle,
Yeah.
the bullet went in just the top of his back at the shoulder, and then it came out of his hip. So it wasn't like he looked down and went bang, bang, bang. It was as he was falling, the bullet went here and came out here.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a very important thing.
I can't believe. I can't even believe. I can't even believe that they went there with that. To try to suggest that he shot him in the back like a coward. Like, 'cause that's what they're trying to say. They're trying to say,
why didn't you just get in a fist fight, you coward?
Why didn't you try to fucking karate chop him, dude? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
he doesn't have to do that.
He does. No, he doesn't. I couldn't believe it, dude. I could not believe that shit. Like, everybody, cops are beating at some point. Should have just let him. That's actually. Do you know who like Vosh is? You know, Vosh.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Okay, Vosh and Destiny like a year ago, because Destiny is an interesting dude. I think he's like an intellectually honest person, even if I disagree with him most of the time, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I do think I can actually follow his rationale. Like, I understand why he thinks the way he does, but he completely blew that fucker out, because Vosh said the same thing. He said, no, he should have just submitted to the mob. He should have surrendered. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking out of your mind?
There were like 40 people running at him,
saying cranium him.
Yeah.
Get him.
And there were people with guns around him.
Exactly.
Shooting.
Yeah, he shot one of them.
Yeah.
Exactly, so, yeah. Kyle, it was not unique that just those guys had guns that night. And I understand an AR-15 looks scary, but, you know, a Glock pistol is just as lethal, just as deadly.
Yeah, a 40 caliber from 18 inches away from your face.
Well, actually, you could say in that circumstance, right, that close range, you're better off having a pistol. You're better off having a Glock, because it's
100%.
a lot harder to get a rifle.
Maneuverability.
Yeah. Fuck these people, dude. But yeah, my prediction is that I think they're gonna want to give the public something.
Yeah.
And I really
But what do they give them now? Everything small has been taken off the table.
I know. That's kind of one of the problems with it's like a good thing, because it helps the defense's case, because if you remove those things, then it just removes elements of the prosecution's case against Kyle for intentional homicide.
Yeah.
But like, so it's good in that sense, but it also gives the jury nothing to just be like, okay, we'll give him a misdemeanor. Like, whatever.
There is one thing, dude. It's not a misdemeanor, but the one thing they could give him is reckless endangerment of Richie McGinnis.
Yes.
That would be, I think. What do you think?
That's possible. That's a possibility, actually, yeah. I didn't even think of that. Oh, did he get charged with that, though?
He did get charged with that.
He did get charged with that.
I've got a list of the charges. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So maybe... Oh, God, man. I hope for Kyle. I hope for my own sanity. I will be karate chopping all the furniture in my house. And my wife is going to hate me. But like, oh God, I hope he walks. I hope he walks. I don't know if I can. I agree with you, but I also think that they're going to want to give people something. Yeah. But I also think that's a mistake, because I don't think it matters to these fucking weirdos.
Of course it doesn't.
It doesn't matter, because no matter what they do, they're still going to do whatever they had in mind. It doesn't matter. Like, they could convict this kid and send him away for the rest of his life, and they would still be out there protesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, we know that LeBron James, whatever the result, is going to be like, well, if he was black, he would have been treated worse.
Oh, yeah. Well,
if he gets off, they're just going to say he only got off because he's white. Even though apparently he's mixed race. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know.
I think he's
that.
What is it, Puerto Rican or something?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm presuming his dad could be mixed race as well. I'm just thinking the name Rittenhouse is obviously German.
Well, his mom is the lady from Poltergeist. You know, the old lady?
Yeah.
The psychic lady? She kind of looks like her a little bit. No, but I don't know what race he is technically, but yeah, they don't care.
I don't even give a fuck.
They don't care.
I just know that LeBron James is going to come out, regardless of how white or not this kid is, and say, this is white privilege. You heard the lawyers even say the word privilege.
Yes. And
blah, 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 blah,
even if he gets convicted, they're going to say it's not enough.
Yeah.
You do
Because
better.
it never is.
Do more. That's why you don't apologize to these people. You don't even acknowledge them if you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
I like if I were to say ever get in any sort of weird internet kerfuffle, like something I say goes viral, taken out of context or whatever, and I would just not acknowledge it.
No.
Because you know what? A week later is done. If I just let it go, it's over.
There's no logic with these people.
But you see it occasionally, like where they'll try to cancel somebody, they'll try to go after somebody, and if you just ignore it, they just lose steam and they go away.
Yeah.
You know, unless they have you like, well, I guess now the current tactic is to like contact your employer. But good thing I don't have a job right now, although my wife does. I think about that sometimes.
Yeah, well, we'll deal with that when it happens.
But thank God I live in the Bible Belt, though. So I know there's nobody like around here where I would have a job where somebody's like, "Oh, you said something that somebody from New York City or whatever." Not to, I sound like such a hick. Like, bring up there in New York City, these people think different. Okay, down here in South Kakalaki, we got our own way of doing things, our own way of thinking.
Good. I'd rather be that. I'd rather be from there. So listen, man.
Yeah.
People. I also think people need to remember. And listen, I don't live there, but like 2021 North Carolina is not 1930 North Carolina.
No.
So I know it's not New York, but it's not like it was back in the day.
No, not at all. It's honestly like I have more contact with a wider range of humanity than most people do. I like my neighbor. I have a Mexican neighbor. I have a black neighbor. I have an old lady neighbor. We all live. We all live in the same working class neighborhood because this is the reality of most people's lives.
Yeah,
you're in a class. Your race really doesn't matter. You are in a class of people, and if you're poor, you're all poor, and you all work together, and you all live together, and it's just. I think, the academic side of this, the media side of it, has conflated these issues to act like everybody hates each other and everybody's at each other's throats and you're always trying to fuck somebody over based on the color of your skin. It's the most racist shit ever. But in reality, nobody cares. Like where I live, nobody gives a shit. We don't care.
It's the same almost everywhere. Like it's just like everyone says, the loudest screeches are what seem to be resonating. You look on Twitter and it's just a freaking cesspool. Like there are so many bad takes on that place.
Because it's just there's no accountability. There's nothing gonna happen to anybody, so they're just free to just be literal like evil fucking people. And good thing I'm so happy though. Twitter, like I know, people make a big deal about it, but it is not very representative of most people or the way people talk to each other. It can be though. It's almost like a dark harbinger. It's like you're looking in the future when like people stop talking face to face because it's happening slowly. People don't like we are just kind of retreating and becoming more insular and staying inside and even something as simple as like going to the store. Right now where I live, like self checkout. I don't even have to interact with anybody at the store.
Yeah,
I don't have to say a word to anybody. Which may seem like a weird thing to bring up, but just that basic social interaction where you go up to somebody at a cash register, say, "Hey, how's it going? How you doing? Oh, good. Have a good day." Like that's good for your soul. Like it's good. It's good to have those little interactions with people, and we're just slowly just taking them away. And
I think anybody that kind of wants. So obviously, you're going to have different groups of people at the moment. Some people that are frightened for the future. And some people that are disappointed for the future. And of those people, you're going to get some people that just hope that things get better. And you're going to get some people that know they're going to have to play an active role in making things better. And that might be having a YouTube channel where you speak out so that other people know that not everyone is insane. Or whether it's just saying good morning to people in your neighborhood so that they know that people actually can speak to each other without whatever. That I think is so important, and with religion shrinking, and listen, if anyone is religious, that's cool. Like I have a good for you. Like I wish I was. I genuinely do.
Yeah, I am same here actually.
Yeah. And so what I would say, and what we've done here, is just set up a community club. It doesn't have to be just do the religion thing, but without the actual religion. And you can still have some of it if you want for a group of it, but just build up a community group or a social group, a social club. You all can meet up once a week, twice a week, talk about your kids, talk about your kids' school, talk about sports, like are your kids getting sports? How are they doing online?
Yeah.
Oh, my kid ended up on this website and it's really dodgy. This is the website, so keep an eye out in case your kid ends up on there. And just we have to do something. Like, this is not going to get better on its own.
Exactly. No, we have to kind of like re-engage with the idea of actual community. Actual communities, not this fake activist community things that makes people feel good about themselves. Just your neighbors, just the people that are in your life, that are around you. I totally agree. I think that's awesome that you guys do that. I wish I had something like that, because I totally agree with you. Like, I wish that I had the ability to really like buy into religion. And I was raised, Irish Catholic, Massachusetts. Like, I was an altar boy in like Latin mass. Like, I'm very familiar with like religion and going to church and all that stuff. I have about 18 solid years. As soon as I turned 18, I said, "Fuck you, Mom. I'm not waking up."
And now you'll burn in hell.
Now I'll burn in hell. Now nobody in my family goes to church, ironically. But she made us for years. But I think there's a value to it, though. Like, there is a component to it that is good. It centers you, it grounds you, it orientates you. And if you can have something that is positive, that encourages positive behavior in each other, even if it's just because you're accountable to one another, instead of being accountable to God, like you said, that's a very positive thing. It's a powerful thing, too. And it's something that people should not take for granted. Don't take that stuff for granted.
Yeah.
Don't take your friends for granted. It's easy to do this. I'm awful about this. I'm awful. I've always been awful about calling people. I'm very forgetful.
Yeah, me too.
I'm very forgetful in my old age. Like, sometimes, like, people send me messages. I'm sure you've experienced this. 4 days later, I'll be like, I'll answer you. It's because I'll see it and I'll be like, oh, I want to write something thoughtful.
Yeah.
Or not just like, oh, cool, dude. Like, I want to write something a little more, but I don't have the time to do it right now. But I've taken the notification off my phone because I looked at your message, and then I just forget it because I get busy doing whatever and fostering and stuff like that. Yeah, but I am notorious for that, and it's something I'm trying very hard to be better at. Is like reaching out to my friends, making sure I call people, because I have never been that guy, and I want to be. I should be.
You can be,
and I can be, exactly. There's nothing stopping me.
And you'd be amazed. Everyone would be amazed at how much, when people start these things like community clubs, you would be amazed at how much people really want it. Like, when people get involved, to begin with, they're a little bit shy, but then, like, as soon as the ice is broken, Jesus, man, like, the passion and like love, and like every time you see them, like in the shop now, whereas before they were a stranger, now they want to talk to you. They want to talk to you about your kid. They want to talk to you about their kids. And also people seem more emotionally cognizant in that.
Yes, because you're connected to each other.
Yeah. And also, like, they can almost tell the days where you just want to say, "Hey, dude, how you doing? Nice to see you." And that's that. Rather than, they're not always, you would think like suddenly they're always going to be wanting like a 5-minute conversation when you just want to grab a bottle of milk and fuck off.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man. Like, once you get that link again that seems to have been lost for the last 25 years.
Well, because we're social creatures. We desire that stuff. It's just that because of the way the internet works and social media, it just goes in the wrong direction because it makes it impersonal. It's not personal to write something to somebody. I mean, because it's not the same as like writing somebody a letter. It's too easy. That's what it is, actually. Maybe that's what it is. It's too easy. It's too easy to communicate with each other online. You know what I mean? And because there's no accountability, it's impersonal. You just say whatever. Everybody's a genius all of a sudden. Everybody's opinion needs to be heard and read and blah, blah, blah.
And a specialist.
I say that with a ton of self-awareness. I understand what am I doing right now. But I'm special. And so is Mark. But yeah, actually, one of the cool things about starting this YouTube channel specifically was like kind of reconnecting with people. I reconnected with a bunch of my old friends, like Dan Prophet. He was on Jukebox Goes to the Movies all the time. I knew him when I was a teenager. We lost touch around the time I was 19 or 20, but we were friends on Facebook.
Mm.
And somehow I started doing this, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, it'd be cool if we talked about movies sometimes." I was like, "You got Skype?" And now we became like fast friends again.
Yeah.
Like
You can tell.
we didn't miss a beat, you know? And we found out how much we have in common. And we were like, "Wow, why weren't we like better friends when we were in high school?" Because we weren't that close, which is weird.
Okay.
It's weird.
Well,
Like where we ended up ends up being like even our mentality about things, the way we think about things is very similar.
yeah.
So it's just kind of funny, but it's things like that has been such a positive thing in my life.
Good.
And just like, or meeting yourself. And now I'm talking to a guy from England.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, mate.
Oi.
Have you got a license for that? Yeah. Yeah, no. It's and sadly, we share very similar issues in our countries. Because the culture and the language is so spread, which is why you're seeing people in countries that speak English, as Americans do, sharing their same issues and protests. But then, for example, carrying a banner saying "Hands up, don't shoot" in a country where the police don't carry guns.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad for you because you get all the residual bullshit, like all of our sloganeering and all of our hot topics. Suddenly, you guys also have to take up cause for it.
Yeah.
It's just like, because you know what it is? It's these busybody activists that are like, I want to be fucking involved in that too. Like,
yeah, dude, because they're always the same people. They're always the same people.
Yeah, I know.
For every single cause.
Yes. You're starting to see that in America too. You're like, it's like the same four fuckers.
Yeah.
The same four pieces of shit. Oh, somebody talked to me in the chat, and I'm sorry I did not see your message, Punkster.
Oh, Punkster.
Punkster says, "Yo."
No way, I know Punkster. He's my homie.
Oh, cool. He said, "Unforgiven." I assume that's when we were talking about. This is when we were talking about movies. He says, "Ever watch Korean films? Watch The Wailing." I am actually a big fan of Korean cinema. And I have seen The Wailing. And The Wailing is excellent. It's a Korean horror movie. Very good.
Oh, interesting.
Very good stuff.
Yeah,
well, you've probably you might have seen some. Glad to have you, Punkster, if you're still around, buddy. Have you ever seen like Old Boy?
No, I haven't seen much Korean cinema, but I'm not somebody that doesn't like foreign language movies. I'll watch any good movie.
Oh, dude, Old Boy would be one for you, buddy. That's a kick-ass movie. That's an awesome movie. And that's or I Saw the Devil is another great Korean movie. Same guy actually that's in Old Boy. I would recommend those. If you've never really watched much Korean cinema, I think definitely give that a go.
What was it? The one that Punkster recommended? The Wailing.
The Wailing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I would definitely recommend that stuff. But do you think there's going to be any violence because of this verdict? Do you think like KENOSHA is going to burn? Do you think people are going to freak out, or do you think it's kind of overblown? Because I saw I was watching last night on Nightcap. I was watching some local news footage, and there were some protesters there. Who was it? Jacob Blake's uncle, or somebody had claimed to be Jacob Blake's uncle.
His cousin or something. Yeah,
is trying to get walking around with a Black Lives Matter flag, or is
I don't believe that's his. I don't believe that's his cousin.
I don't believe it either. Just like that guy that was said he was George Floyd's cousin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're not really cousins. That I know for sure. That's not really his cousin. That's just that's a guy maybe who knew him. I guess it's colloquial slang. He's just like, "Oh, yo, what's up, cuz?"
Yeah, maybe.
Why not just say you're his doctor? Like I was his doctor.
Yeah.
I was
his milk.
His street doctor. But there wasn't a lot of people there. You could see. I saw because people were marching. They're like, "Yes, these people are going to march all the way down to the site from the courthouse." Of where Joseph whatever his name is. Rosenbaum, there you go. I've only said it 100 times and then I couldn't think of it.
But those names are so similar, man.
Huber.
Yep. Grosskreutz.
They're gonna go to where they were shot. And there was probably looked like 30 people. So I was like, okay, so people are not
Yeah.
really activated in this way right now. They're not like, but anything could happen because goddamn the fucking media was really trying to make it happen. They are really trying to make it happen. It's evil. I can't even watch. I get so mad. I can't watch it.
Like my mum is, oh God, I don't want to say her age, but she's over 60.
Yeah.
We'll put it like that. And under 150. And, she is not the type of person that I would have expected to say what you just said. Like, I can't even watch the mainstream media anymore, even though you're a fairly moderate dude. You might have very diverse opinions, very complicated opinions, but overall, you're not a radical.
No.
And she is the same. She's very moderate. And she just can't watch news anymore because she says, like, the blatant lies and fucking absurdities that have come out. It just makes her so angry that she cannot watch it.
But
and I fully understand that.
But good on your mom though. But she's angry at least for the right reason, because it is designed to make you angry. But it's designed to make you feel self-righteous and be a prick. Like they want you to inspire that kind of anger. I get like your mom. I'm like disgusted. Like, I can't even fucking look at these people. It fucking disgusts me. It's so upsetting. I like the last video I watched last night was like one of these fucking Twitch assholes, these political streamers, like some 25-year-old girl trying to explain fucking why you're a Nazi if you support Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh
one
my
of the
God.
one of the red flags she posited that you're not worth talking to is if you believe in due process.
What?
Yes. This is how fucking stupid these people are. Let me catch up with the chat real quick. Punkster says it's on Amazon Prime. I'm assuming he's talking about The Wailing. He says, stop deleting my comments, Mark. Just kidding.
Hey,
just kidding.
I
know he isn't.
Just
kidding. I know he isn't. And I think this is relative to what we were talking about the news. It's designed to make you feel alone. That's actually another great point, is to isolate you. To feel like, what? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, just before I forget. Because Punkster actually advised me to change something in my settings to do with comments. And just to let you know, I have done that, Punk. And it definitely is better since I changed the thing you said to change, which was to make sure that every time I do a video, I select comments all.
Yes. Yeah.
But they are definitely still deleting some. I had a guy that wrote a huge comment this morning, and it was really good. And there was nothing offensive in it. And by the time you'll know this because you're a creator, obviously. Like, you get the email and it shows you the comment, and you can click manage comments or reply to comments. And I clicked reply to comment like a minute after I got the email, and the comment was gone.
Yeah.
So I went to the video, I selected posts by popularity, then posts by newest, and it was nowhere. And it was saying 4 comments, but there are only 2 comments there.
Yeah. No, it happens to be all.
Better.
I used to think that people would delete them, like, oh, maybe people thought differently or whatever, maybe they wrote it hastily or whatever, but no, I think that they just delete them, just wholesale delete them, which sucks when you're on like a small channel, because engagement is the only way to move up. So if they actually remove your engagement, because people are like, they like to see that other people like you or talk about you or comment before they will comment. Like, that's a pretty normal phenomenon for most people. So if they see videos with no comments and 40 views, they're like, oh.
It's like an empty bar room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Feels like it sometimes
there's nothing happening here.
Good old, you were smart and industrious, where you got an interview with somebody, and then you got to have, because you have an audience. It's awesome. Like, I'm so happy for you. I go over there, I'm like, oh, cool. Because, like, when you first started, like, you were so supportive of me and, like, this channel for such a long time, like, always leaving thumbs up, always commenting, and that stuff meant a lot to me. It really did, because it kind of kept me going. I'm like, well, at least I got Mark, At least I got Maverick. Actually, before I knew you were Mark, I was like, well, Maverick's here. That's fine. That's enough for me. And
it's just such a good show, man. I always found it so interesting and fun.
Well, thank you. But when you first started, first started posting videos, before you, like, got a bunch of subs, I would make a point to go and comment on your videos. I watch all of your videos, but I don't always comment, because I'm usually watching it while I'm driving, or listening to it, rather. No, I'm not watching videos while I drive.
Only at traffic lights.
But, like, and the reason I don't anymore is because, like, oh, he has, like, people. Like, he has his people here. They're engaged. They're talking with him. He's talking back to them, and I'm so happy. I'm really happy for you. I'm really happy for your success because Mark is a very genuine dude, and I think it comes through in the videos you make, and that's why I've just always appreciated your presence, and now I appreciate you also as a creator, and now I'm just a fan. I guess just to be a fan of Mark now.
Thanks, dude. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I am really lucky. Like, that I asked a few people for interviews, and the craziest thing is, I thought Devon would be the last person to say yes, but of the people that I asked, because I actually asked more than 4, but I got 4 people that said, yeah, I'll do it. The 3 other people have they sort of slowly, the communication just slowly petered out. In fact, I was supposed to have an interview on Unsafe Space, and maybe there is still an option to do that, but what happened was, they said that you don't deal with them, obviously, directly because they're fairly big. One of their ladies that helps them was like, yep, we can do that, like, when suits you. Well, I won't say their name, but the person involved has said she's happy to speak to you. And then we sort of arranged a time, and then that time came and went, and no one got in contact. I was just sat there like a loner, like waiting for them to call, like literally the time of night that we'd agreed. And then the next day I got a message from her assistant, saying like, I'm really sorry, I'm so sorry about last night, it was all my fault, it wasn't her fault. I forgot to tell her, and I'm sure that's true. And then we arranged another date, and then that date came, and this time a day before we did it, she said, oh, I'm gonna have to postpone it until after thing. And then I had to go to hospital for something because of the liver tumor, and it just got to the point where, like, the effort of chasing them and checking my emails.
I gotcha. Yeah.
But checking them every day, making sure I'm not missing one. I was like, I can't be dealing with this. But yeah, obviously having the Devon thing really helped, and I do really appreciate my small audience.
Well, because Devon's
dedicated fans.
Devon's I've known about Devon Tracy for years. Like, I've watched Devon Tracy since probably like 2012, 2011, something like that. Like,
about 12 was when he started.
And he was by far he's one of the slickest editors on YouTube. Like,
yeah, without a doubt.
And his churn is crazy. That guy but he has like very slick videos like every day.
He still does.
And then I know, because now he's over on Uncensored TV. Is that what it is?
Uncensored and obviously Patreon.
Yeah, and I was always just really impressed with him. And he's a great personality. He's like funny and smart and insightful, and yeah, it was really cool. But he's such a good guy. He made a video after your interview shouting you out because he liked you.
I know.
And I was like, what a good fucking dude. What a good dude. Like, what a good person. Like, that's a solid bro move. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I got you.
It was crazy because I wasn't even expecting him to do that. Like, I genuinely, I'll tell you what it was. I was actually kind of being a bit selfish. I just wanted to hear about him and learn about him. I didn't actually think that it would kind of give me an audience or anything. I'm not that intelligent. And so when I spoke to him, I thought maybe I'll get like 20 or 30 people that come over. And then he said to me about 3 days after we did the interview, he was like, I think you're a good dude, and I want to see you get at least 100 subs from this.
Wow.
And I was like, well, that's very kind, but we'll see. You don't owe me anything. If anything, I owe you. And then within like a week, I had 1,000 subs, so it was kind of crazy. And obviously, you're not going to keep those 1,000 people because a lot of them are just doing it to help you out. But that's really great as well. I really appreciate that.
Well, but even if they don't stay, like, it helps you because if you have more subs, then you have more. You're more visible for the algorithm and stuff like that, and people find your channel easier. Like, because there's like a snowball effect that happens, right? When you get subs, not Zubox. Zubox not allowed to get snowballed, apparently. Can't get. I cannot get subs on this channel to save my fucking life.
It'll happen.
Well,
it will.
It's
happen.
gone fast. It's gone like what since. So when did I make? I made a video when we hit 300 subs, and now we have 410, 411, something like that. Punkster said he subbed to me, so thank you, Punkster.
Oh, dude, here's a dude.
He said, Punkster says, I am subbed to both of you. And then when we were talking about engagement, he said, well, the ones who get to leave comments engaged, not me. Mark deletes mine. And then he says, Carrie Smith, do that, bud, former SJW. I don't know who Carrie Smith is.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Gary Smith. She's a lady from Unsafe Space,
Oh,
and like I
okay.
say, I'm sure she's very nice.
Oh, it seems like yeah, her. You're talking to her producer,
Yeah,
and
she's just very busy.
probably very busy. But you're
Yeah.
Mark, dude. You'd be like, listen, I got like over 1,000 subs on YouTube. What do you got? I'm gonna,
Yeah.
I'm
Do you
gonna,
not know who I
yeah,
am?
I'm gonna make a fucking T-shirt. If I get over 1,000 subs, I'm gonna make a T-shirt that says like 1,000 sub guy over here. Watch out, watch out. Um, I don't know. Well, at some point you got to do this just because you enjoy doing it. Like
Oh, yeah.
I don't chase subs, so I'm not like somebody that's trying to figure out the algorithm or talk about stories that specifically will get attention, which is stupid of me.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid
Well,
of me. If I was because I think you're probably going to see a little bit of a sea change because I might I might start
yeah.
talking about the news at least more often because everything. I mean, we talk about all of the relevant stuff, but it's all inside of giant podcasts and live streams.
Yeah.
So there's nothing like there's no video that says like what will happen to Kyle Rittenhouse, even though I've talked about
Yeah.
it for hours. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
But
you know
I
like
need that 10-minute video. Like you do a great job because you're doing like that which is something I prefer. It's like the old school, like circa 20. And I don't mean this as an insult. It's like the
no no.
2014 2015 style of making commentary videos.
Hmm.
But it's solid and it works and you get your point across. Me, I do the same thing, but I do it for 4 hours while I'm getting drunk on Monday nights. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, you do have to kind of because obviously a lot of people don't have two, three
No, they don't.
hours.
They don't. I know that.
So
I've like
definitely,
I've wanted to like start clipping stuff and like get more into that, like in little chunks. And I started, but it's like just as you well know, like it actually is very time consuming. Like
yeah,
it actually takes up a lot of time, even just to like make thumbnails and write descriptions and do all that kind of stuff. And then the thought of me like after editing everything, like going through the material again to find the clips, like I'm just like oh. But I might have to start. That's probably what I'm going to start doing. Is start clipping stuff
yeah.
at some
No,
point.
it's definitely a lot more work than I think
Did people
people know. Like,
realize? Yeah.
I thought making a 10-minute video would be like 20 minutes.
No. No, no,
It's
no.
not 20
Especially
minutes.
when you first start and you're not like familiar
Yeah,
with the software. It's like it took me 6 hours to do this 12-minute video. Like what the
yeah,
fuck? You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like learning even like just stupid things like how do I capture footage? Like how do I get stuff off of YouTube?
yeah.
You know? Like just
I
things
remember
you've never
asking
thought of.
Devon that,
Yeah, yeah.
and you,
He
both of you.
definitely would have better advice than I would. I mean, that guy knows
The
what he's
only
doing.
thing with Devon is because he's a professional, um, he is willing to pay the big money for the
Yeah.
really good software, and he should, and I'm sure it makes sense for him. But like as a hobbyist, like and it's understandable. I have zero income from the
Yeah.
from the YouTubes. I'm not gonna. I mean, I do buy my stuff, but I'm not gonna be buying the most expensive video capturing
Yeah.
equipment, the most expensive camera. I'm gonna be paying, I don't know, 50 quid a year for my editing software, £5 a month for my sort of Photoshop
Yeah.
equivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I agree with you because, like, for me, it's always like, well, if this starts making money, then I will reinvest it into the
yeah,
stuff, and I will upgrade stuff because I'd like to get a Shure microphone and get some new stuff. My computer is actually not a very good computer; it's kind of like a basic piece of shit. So even the videos I edit now, like, so when I started doing that with Goes to the Movies, like, kind of taking the podcast and almost like making it like a little bit more, I don't know, like a little documentary esque, I suppose.
okay,
Using movie examples and clipping in actual documentary footage and stuff that's relative to what we're talking about.
yeah,
My computer, if especially the longer ones, will start chugging hard, and it's like it shouldn't, but it's because I have an old potato computer. Punkster says, put out some short scripted videos, no more than 8 to 10 minutes, and people will sub. I totally agree with you. That would be the thing. I think I'm probably going to start doing that stuff. Actually, I used to write a lot of like film criticism stuff. I was like going through them. I'm like, oh, I should just record this and then
your
edit.
film stuff is the nuts, dude.
Oh,
Like
thank you.
I definitely think you should, as a based parent, you should do a bit of politics as well and a bit of like culture. But your stuff about entertainment is phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
So I would definitely chase a lot of that as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I will. I am going to. I mean, I'm just in a. That's a big pool with a lot of people. Everybody likes to talk about movies, so it's just like trying to find your unique angle on it just to even get noticed is just hard. It's just hard to do. And a lot of the people that are the bigger channels that are very popular, they're very slick. Like there are people that went to film school, couldn't figure out a way to make movies, so apply all that knowledge to making YouTube videos about movies. Like so.
Yeah.
That is something like I am lacking in, so I have to go personality first. Like that's my tool is me.
Yeah.
And that's a limited thing. There's a ceiling on that, you know. I'm only so much fun to watch.
Well, you know how they used to say those that can do and those that can't teach. Now they say those that can do and those that can't YouTube.
Yeah.
So instead of being a film director, they're just doing film whatever's.
Yeah.
Film reviews. But yeah, like YouTube is, you know, dude, I remember putting out, I'm not going to lie. I was going to shorten the story by lying just for convenience. My brother-in-law put out a movie of a bus sliding back down a hill in England.
Mm-hmm.
This is like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And he got like, I don't know, 1.7 million views from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he put out another video of like a cat playing in the snow or something, and he got like another 700,000 views. Back then, it was like a sort of, you had a load of people in the desert just thirsty for something to watch and not, you know, there was no water. Now it's the other way around. They're in the ocean and we're trying to sell them a bottle of water. They're like an ocean of spring water, and we're like, here, have another bottle.
Dude, YouTube was so cool. It used to be so fucking awesome because you could be a guy with a shitty webcam and make videos and make a living. Like just
a lot of people did.
talking shit about the angry video game nerd or something. Like just people ranting. It was all rant vlogs. Everybody ranted about everything. The golden era. And then it kind of like after, you know, this is the one thing about Trump. The Trump really fucked everything up because Trump's ascendance ruins like YouTube. They start being overly censorious, overly critical. Like, and then once they realize that most of the lion's share of people that watch YouTube are actually like center right people.
Yeah.
Because those are the biggest channels, or like the center or the right leaning stuff. They get a lot of views. I mean, without YouTube's manipulation, they would be bigger than they are. I can tell you that much. Like the engagement on that stuff is crazy. Like even like say like the Kyle Rittenhouse case, one of the biggest streams, the most watched stream, it was either Steven Crowder when he did it for a little bit, and Ricada Law. Those are both center-right guys.
And then commentary. I saw a lot of people on Shapiro's channel for the commentary about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Daily Wire is huge.
So I agree. It's crazy. If you type in something like Kyle Rittenhouse or even views on Kyle Rittenhouse, it just sends you to the BBC, CNN, MSNBC. And not the thing that pisses me off is it's not just the first 10 or 20 answers. You could go through freaking pages of that shit and you will not see anything but mainstream stuff repeated, regurgitated. You just can't find any non-mainstream person. So like you said, as soon as they sold out, as soon as Google got it, it just became within a year.
That's a good point too. And Punkster kind of made the same point. It is the same with everything. As soon as YouTube became mainstream, they ruined it.
Yep.
Which is true. I blame Sargon of Akkad. Honestly, he should have left Anita alone. That's all I'm saying. No, I'm just joking. I actually really like Sargon. Sargon's a guy that's like he's like I like the way he's matured.
Yes, he's matured well,
and he's like he's like a dad. He's my internet dad. Even though I think we're very close in age. I think
he's like 40, 42, 41.
Yeah, he's only like 7 or 8 years older than me. Yeah,
yeah. It's crazy. He's a good guy, and it blows my mind that he ran for office. Well, that's not a very American way of saying it, but yeah, he ran for government only like 2 years ago. Yeah.
Which is like people I know, people have made fun of him, and it was like a meme and all like I don't know, Mr. Medicare. Do you know who Mr. Medicare is?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave him a hard time. The Applebee's. He said he looks like a manager at Applebee's in his suit and stuff, his ill-fitted suit.
What does Mr. Medicare look like?
I don't. Nobody knows. Yeah. Exactly. But it's not. Well, it's not even that. It's like I find Mr. Medicare very entertaining,
I
But
do too.
he's also just like a nihilist, though. Like Sargon of Akkad or Carl Benjamin, whatever you like to call him, he
Yep.
wants to actually affect real change in his world, in his community. He has kids. He's like this is the way we look at these things. We
Yeah.
don't look at it as some passive thing. It's fun to like goof on shit. Like I get it. Like, but like to attack somebody just because they want to make the world a better place a little bit. So they're
I
running.
think it's jealousy. I genuinely think some people are a little bit envious of somebody that has the balls to do something that is so incredibly difficult and the effects of which are horrible. Carl was not met by, babies and candy canes. He was
No.
met by people throwing rotten fish and milkshakes at him
Yes.
everywhere he went. People
And-
screaming Nazi,
and
even though he's the most normal person.
Yeah, he's like a regular ass guy.
Absolutely.
And he went
Yeah.
there and he would talk to people too. He would set
Yeah.
up a table and say, "Come talk to me. What are your issues? Why do you think?" And then you have the fucking internet trolls that would show up and blah blah blah, which is part and parcel of part of his life. Like there was a time where Carl Benjamin was one of those people. That's why I think he kind of accepts it. He understands it a little bit. Because when he was, especially even when he first started, well, he's always been kind of like righteous to a certain degree. When he first started with Gamergate. Talking about Anita Sarkeesian, talking about video games, talking about censorship in that way, and then it just kind of grew from there. But yeah, I don't know.
But to be fair, he is often right.
No, I think he is. No, I that's why I've watched him for so long. Like I tend to agree with him. Like I don't agree with him on every single
No.
thing. I don't agree with anybody on every single thing, but
No.
I appreciate like the general sentiment of what he tries to accomplish. And I appreciate anybody and respect anybody that can like build something for themselves. And that's what he did.
Absolutely.
And he did that through tons of adversity. Like he is a censored person. Like he was like run off of like Patreon and social media platforms and all sorts of shit. Like still somehow he has persisted and he is still around. And he's doing better than he probably has ever been doing. He started the Lotus Eaters, which is like a website and it's a podcast and trying to build a community of like, and also I love this about him too, because this is something I wish I was better at, is like he cares about young men and wants to be like a good example for them and to help them out and make them feel part of a community. And they like read literature and philosophy and talk to each other, and it's a good thing. Like it's just very positive. And I respect the hell out of that.
And I believe he had, I might be wrong here, but I'm sure I'm in the right ballpark. I believe he had like 1.8 or 2 million subscribers on his main channel. Or maybe it was 1 million. Maybe it was 1 million subscribers.
I think he hit 1 million, yeah.
And then he basically said, I'm giving up my channel because it's too heavily shadow banned.
Yeah, because he started a few other ones and then he would name them different things so that it wouldn't immediately, like the algorithm wouldn't immediately know it was him, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he started again. And, now he's only, I say only, he's only in air quotes, he's only in air quotes on like 200,000 or 220,000 or something. But you think back, he had 1 million and then 800,000 on another channel and then about 600,000 on another channel. And he was forced, these bread tubers never get forced to do that.
Yeah, and they never. The crazy thing, most of these bread tubers, they all subsist around like 20,000 subs. There's very few of them that are actually very popular. Their audience is like super niche.
Yeah,
because people find them off-putting. All of them are off-putting. They all suck.
Takes are revolting.
They're revolting takes. They're assholes. They don't even like their own audiences. Like they're constantly like arguing with their chat and shit. Like,
yeah,
there's only a couple of them that got really popular, which is like Hassan Piker. I guess Vosh got kind of popular, but most of them, even the people that the people that orbit all of them, they're all very small YouTubers.
Yeah,
but somehow they get the amount of attention they get is like imbalanced because somebody's helping them. That they're being pushed in front of you.
100%.
Like why do I need to? What the hell is that person? Is it Philosophy Tube? It's another one of these bread tubers. I get like their videos recommended to me all the time, and I've never watched one. I don't know who the fuck they are. Outside of, I've seen them on other programs, and they're like, dirty communists.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I know about them. My brother Dan wants to get on, but I think we're about wrapping up.
I gotta go, man.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
You gotta go. I gotta go too. Dan, I'll call you as soon as I get off. But we gotta go. I gotta go. I talked way longer than I was supposed to. But thanks for coming on, Mark. And we'll do it again.
Welcome.
We'll do it again shortly, I guess. We'll talk for a second after we get off here.
Okie dokie.
All right, everybody. You have the best one ever, and we'll see you next time on whatever this is, whatever we end up calling this. Goodbye. You like subs, fucker?